And give what you can. If we want to beat them at their own game, we have to produce fun, funny content, and there's no one who can do it better than Sheamus. He's got to get this goal, because every day he misses the mark, it gets worse. You can stand up right now and help make a difference. Bill's just sitting here.
He gives you like this great script, and he lets you come and promote your stuff, and you're just like, yeah, you should go and check out my...
I don't think that's how I said it at all.
Like Chuck Schumer.
Compared to Tim, it was. Hello, everybody. My name is Phil Levanti. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and a counter-revolutionary. Let's get into it.
Here's the story from the post-millennial. Guys, I got to be honest. When we were doing pre-production for the show, I was like, did you hear what happened in Chicago? A vehicle ran
dumbass dozing on the game, dude.
They pursued and pulled a pit maneuver, causing a crash. Get out. A bunch of locals start swarming around and throwing rocks. I'm like, this is crazy. This should be the lead story for tonight. And then we go to post-millennial, and Chuck Schumer is like, people need to forcefully rise up against Trump. And I was like, oh, my God. Here's the story from the post-millennial. Chuck Schumer calls on Americans to forcefully rise up against Trump over Tish James's indictment. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, liberal, or conservative. Moderate people should be forcefully rising up
Fucking
against
join.
this. I'm gonna play the clip for you because this is where we are.
Then they find another one. It is just such a hallmark of tyrannical, autocratic dictatorship societies that they use the prosecutorial department as a political weapon. It is a disgrace, and every American, I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, moderate, people should be forcefully rising up against this, speaking out against it, and making it clear how inimical this is to what our democracy has been stood for more than two centuries.
I am not playing games with these people. I don't care about how many of you want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to do that. The man literally said, forcefully rise up against this, speak out against it, and that is a free party statement. He was saying, forcefully rise up. There is only, he's talking about physical force. I mean, fine, if you're talking about coercive force, sure. He's literally saying, use force against Trump and his arguments. You see that? We know that AOC shares we know that these people have venerated the alleged assassin of Brian Thompson.
Go, dog!
Yo, shoot that helicopter.
Oh, we're...
You know what they mean. And if you sit there
I can't.
and think, no, he certainly must have meant something different, and just sit by as the fire engulfs your home,
Nice.
and you'll be
Okay,
left wanting.
why was it on Rockets?
He wants to see people
Why was it
taking action. This is what the left has been begging for
Doesn't make
as
any
long
sense,
as
man.
Donald Trump has been in politics, right? Like, you heard people start in 2016 when they're saying, oh, the right, they're all Nazis, they're all this, and we have to fight fascism, and Donald Trump's a Nazi, and it's okay to punch Nazis, and blah blah blah. They've been they've been making this argument for 10 years, and now we're seeing people that have heard this argument for since they were children, literally 16, 15, whatever, and they're now in their 20s. And they're taking action. This is exactly what we're showing.
Weak Chuck, right? Looks like Joe Biden with glasses. Like Joe Biden and Woody Allen. What a creep. What a weirdo.
Unreal.
Right? Letitia James. I call her the poor
I
woman's
think it was on
right?
the
poor
missile
woman.
because he
Right? You
had
get
it
a
on the missile.
you get a
So-
riot. You get a riot. What a nice
That's a good autism. I have no Donald Trump. But yeah, I mean, look, it's not a surprise.
Seamus looks uncomfortable.
Wait, no, I mean, I don't know. The story is messed up. I know we talked about it the other day. Obviously, she should be imprisoned. I have no idea why she should get kind of well, what I should say is if she's found guilty by a court of law, there should be
Fucking
legal
gays
consequences. But
game,
the idea
dude.
that you bring charges against somebody. All right, well then I don't know what to say, man.
No, like, oh, she's found guilty by a court, like Trump was? Like, these people in New York get fake crimes against Trump.
I can't get out of the menu.
Let's just be blunt about it.
Odd man.
If the DOJ brings charges in a liberal jurisdiction, she's free to go. If they bring charges.
I literally can't get out of the fucking menu.
We are so far past this argument about if she
Fucking
gets
hate this
convicted by
piece of
the
paper
jury.
in there.
That didn't happen with Trump or Trump's lawyers. It didn't happen with the J6ers. So I don't understand why we're still in this position where conservatives, and I don't mean you just have to case, but conservatives keep saying, let's keep playing by the rules Democrats aren't playing by.
Yeah, I mean, you threw the mic to me when I didn't have anything to say, so I just pointed out what my thoughts were. I'm like, I think if she's guilty, she should go to jail.
I don't think it's about.
You should have pitched your cartoon, man.
Any silence.
TwistedPlots.com, everybody. Twisted Plots.
I don't think, again, it's about the again, as they said, that's the process that they were forced to go through. You still have to hire lawyers and put your family through years of uncertainty of whether or not they're going to be arrested. They put the president through the same thing, and I mean, I do think these charges more likely to be dropped, but again, it's the process that people have to go through. And I think this is what retribution for the president looks like. I think the more fascinating part of the story here is that Chuck Schumer has to do this because he's posturing to avoid his left flank taking over the primary in his upcoming election. I believe he's up for re-election in 2016. AOC could likely challenge him, and he needs to flank more to the left and cover
Fucking
his
John.
left flank to avoid being primary.
The lobby's full.
Do you think that kind of baked in already?
Yeah, somebody
It's
joined
my
us.
impression that AOC's the steps in the
What do you?
Oh, joined your
But
party?
let's
I don't
do
know.
the math here.
Oh, wait.
If Schumer is
Um,
actually saying be violent
left.
because he's trying to beat AOC, let's just go step by step. Okay. If Schumer says to people be violent because he's trying to get ahead of AOC, what do you think the next course of action politically will be between AOC and Chuck Schumer?
Who could say to be more violent?
They're going to try to one-up each other in this area of direct conflict, direct action.
Wait, are they running against each other?
The presumption is AOC is going to try to primary Schumer in New York.
Okay.
She actually, the official reporting is she's looking at president or Senate.
And this could also explain as to why Chuck Schumer is leading a shutdown to show that he is fighting back against the Trump, so-called fighting back against the Trump administration by shutting down the government.
Can I ask you a question quickly, Elad? You mentioned this as retribution, and I think there's a few ways to understand that. Do you think that this is justified? Do you think it's good for them to go after her, or are you of the opinion that this is the kind of thing the administration should let go? I'm curious what your perspective is there.
I think this is payback.
Unleash your inner lion at Leo Vegas, part of MGM Resorts International.
Are you in the lobby or no?
On the lobby.
I don't know, I'm just asking because it's hard for me to tell. I don't know if the game is telling me you're there.
You're the party leader.
Oh, hold on. I don't want to have that. Invite me. Have you tried the cord? 6P67?
That is.
It's an AR. It has low damage, but it has no recoil and it shoots fast, so it's actually not too bad.
Hold on.
Is it pronounced carbine or carbine?
Carbine just sounds weird.
I don't know. Let's call it a fucking AR or something like that. I don't know why they do that. I wonder if the SL9 submachine gun is Mozzie's gun.
Can you repeat the second part of your?
Yeah. I guess my question is.
I do think
because
the DOJ
that's a word that could.
politicized.
Yeah, because that's a word that could be like prescriptive or descriptive. So my question is like when you call it retribution, often when people call it retribution, they mean that with a negative connotation. This is petty. This is pointless. This is political. He shouldn't be doing this. I'm just clarifying.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that Democrats. It started actually before the president Donald Trump was indicted. Joe Biden was president, and I guess this is payback. Whether or not I think that's like justified or not, I think it is justified given the totality of the situation. These are people who have come. I think Tish James was involved. I forgot which case in particular, but I believe she brought one of the cases against him that eventually was to be dropped, and they went against all the Trump allies too. Yesterday, you guys had, I believe it was, you had to spend time in jail for things that. Justified. Yeah, the DOJ has been politicized. If anybody has any sort of inkling of doing something wrong, they should be punished. I believe there was I forgot who was reporting it, but there were also people in the Trump administration who have worked for Trump who have misfired their files in the past as well. And in the future, I'm sure the DOJ will continue to be politicized. So I guess the warning is that's what's happening right now.
The warning is if Republicans lose, whoever wins the next election, that's it. We've seen what Democrats do. They arrested Trump's lawyer.
Oh my god, this gun is nice, dude. Holy fuck.
But
I think it's the one you're using.
they arrested Trump's lawyers. Trump was accused of bad things, so he said, I'm going to hire a lawyer. Well, actually, what happened was...
Oh, this is, well, it was in the
Trump hired lawyers
Carbine
to assist him in his
menu or
challenge
whatever.
Of the election,
I think it's the third
which
one.
is literally a redress of grievances. Jenna Ellis
Oh,
drafted
I think it's like basically like an AK.
They then got her to beg and cry and plead guilty. After Trump's lawyers, Jason, look at the fake charges. Those are misdemeanors, false claim, felonies. So if y'all are crazy
My
enough to
fucking
think
turn,
that we
dude.
are playing sports, whatever, I think 3 instances now where conservatives were attacked and the police in Portland arrested them. I'm just flabbergasted that there are people who are like, I can freely travel to Portland and the police will help me. It's like, are you joking? Well, we're an enemy policy.
Here's the wild thing, and part of what I wanted to ask you clarification because I think I understood how you meant it. I just wanted it to be clear to the audience. It's funny because people will say, "Oh, Trump is doing this for purely political reasons," but if that's the case, why do so many of these people have so much shit in their past that can be investigated? That can be brought up all these charges in the first place?
I think it's fraud, so I don't know what's the...
just got in the stairwell.
I wish they got him on something meatier, right? I wish they got Chris James on something more meaty.
I think
Like her body.
I think the point was literally to go after her for the exact same thing she accused Trump of, falsification of voting documents.
Okay, and if that was their point, I mean, I think they're also going to get leadership with Adam Schiff, rather. Leadership.
Yeah.
Mortgage documents.
Dare he make bad predictions?
Whatever opportunity. Because these are things that are legitimate. I think they actually do. If the evidence that we've seen about Letitia James is accurate, I think we do it.
Let's pull up the story real quick. We got this story from the New York Post. Letitia James' fugitive relative who lives in her Virginia home was arrested twice for assaulting cops. So here's the story. We just read a segment, read a story where Chuck Schumer's called for people of all backgrounds to forcefully rise up against Trump, literally to be physically violent, because Trump has charged Letitia James. Now the Trump had falsifying a mortgage, claiming that an investment property was a primary residence, despite it
I
being
was gonna say
outside
this team
the
is
state
good
where
until
she
they
was,
left B, bro.
where she works,
You
where she holds
cannot
office,
leave B.
which is
If
New
you have
York.
this flag,
The
if you have this
argument is that,
headquarters,
it was a simple
we
error and she has
cannot
family living there.
leave
The Trump administration is arguing she falsified the mortgage application to get a beneficial interest rate because primary residences pay a lower interest rate. And that is better for her investment. Now, apparently, the rumor is
Fuck was
she
that?
let a fugitive relative live there, someone who was wanted by the police. And the argument is, see, she did nothing wrong. She was having family stay there, to which the conservatives have responded, she was aiding and abetting a known fugitive from another state, in which case there's a lot more criminal action.
Didn't get better, they got worse.
It's an Airbnb. I was doing that for 10 years.
Dude, that's so insane. That's their excuse. Yeah, made it a million times. What if they knew that and they also knew that they were stupid enough to say that as a cover and still this 4D Jess?
Well, it says Nakia Thompson, 36, is currently wanted for absconding from North Carolina after failing to complete the terms of following a
Holy fuck,
crazy.
man.
So,
Dude, what the?
I mean,
I just got
this is
fucking
pretty
locked.
nuts. So she's
blocked
wanted
from a door.
in another
I couldn't
state.
even run away.
And Letitia James has given her
Just
a
stuck to
residence
it.
to stay in a different state to protect her. This is nuts.
No way. I thought nobody was above the
If
law.
I
Why
run
would Letitia do
into
that?
a door, it should automatically open. I shouldn't have to fucking.
It's clear that
press a
she's,
button.
you know, she was not only guilty of mortgage fraud, but that she was also aiding and abetting a fugitive. Wrap her up. Send the police.
Those two cancel out.
It
Page 4.
sounds like Letitia James bought this property specifically to aid a fugitive.
No way. She bought an entire house to do that? And 6 roommates.
You've got a relative who's fleeing from the law,
Up
who
top.
needs to stay somewhere. You say, I'll get a house, you can stay there, puts it in her name so people can't find her. And the only reason they're finding out now that she's there is because Letitia James was indicted for mortgage fraud. What if the move made by the Trump DOJ, Bill Pulte, when he said, hey, look, mortgage fraud, was
Yes.
actually just to pull the veil off of
That's
what
what I was
she's
saying.
actually
Yeah, because they knew she was dumb enough to say something like
I need
that.
the
But I
fucking
just think
medic!
that someone who believes nobody is above the law wouldn't do that, so it's not possible.
So here's the
I
thing.
refuse to believe it.
Point.
Yeah, it's true.
If she's committing crimes here, I believe she should be, charged in whatever the highest level of crime that she committed.
If they have evidence of her committing crimes.
Yeah, but I kind of suspect that they don't, and I want to change my response to this from earlier. I kind of had a mixed feeling.
It just got worse. Hold on, it just got way worse, and you're like, I want to walk it back. Maybe they
Because
should
I feel like I have the
Shotgun,
foresight
dude.
also to know that, here's the thing too, there's a couple of different factors at play here. First,
You're letting me
when the
down.
president was indicted by the Biden era DOJ, it actually made it more popular despite having to pay the legal fees and whatnot. All this thing created a rally around the flag effect with the president. So I suspect that, Democrats might be rallying around Letitia James because
I did not know there was this
But one
spot
other
up
thing,
here.
I also have the foresight to foresee that when Democrats are eventually back in office, they will bring BS charges against.
If you're going to do that anyway,
Miller,
do it anyway.
We talk about it.
inevitable.
We've discussed this. Yes.
This is they're not going to do that.
They've already done this.
He's wearing a suit, I believe. That shit works, man.
No, so I mean,
I'm wearing a a sweater. That's also smart guy clothes.
It's just gonna escalate whenever
Oh,
someone.
wait. I've got that folded up sleeve blue collar look, so you gotta trust me 'cause it's more authentic.
That's true. And you don't take the head.
I could only afford this suit because I'm the APAC handler. They pay me $7 for per post. When I tell them to tweet something, they give me $7.
I once posted the Israeli flag. Oh, gangbusters, just got paid.
Yeah.
I did just get offered.
Wait. No, what? You
Well, I got offered 3,000. I don't know what it was. 3,000 to stand up at a dinner for Israel.
Wait.
What does that mean?
Just respond with it's $1 million to go to Saudi Arabia and be anti-Israel, so they gotta pay up.
About my raise.
Anyway, back to the line. I forgive you for your ignorance. The Democrats have already done everything that we're talking about. What you need to say is not when Democrats eventually get in power, they're going to do bad things. It's you are if Democrats get back in power.
I believe it's an inevitability that Democrats will eventually get back into power.
The Biden administration falsely accused me of getting money from Russia, and I'm just some dude on the internet. Dave Rubin was making fun reaction videos to viral videos, and they lied and claimed he spread Russian propaganda. The whole story was fabricated. The lengths these people are willing to go to talk regular citizens to voice their opinions, I am not at all right now concerned about doing something that maybe will anger the Democrats. They've already tried to destroy Trump, accusing him of being a traitor, going after his lawyers, and I looked at Trump like that today. I didn't know this. He said that I was a principal part in 2020 for the ballot harvesting narrative because it originated with me. He said that they traced back concerns about ballot harvesting to your videos, and we're trying to figure out ways to shut me down. So I'm sitting here being like, yeah,
Oh
fake
my God.
indictment. How often did Merrick Garland go and give public press conferences over indictments they didn't pursue? Never. One time, October. So don't play. I can't play this game where it's like, you better be careful. If Democrats come into power, you got a lot more things to worry about, bro.
Yeah, we're in big trouble.
Is there any way to stop the escalation of the politicization?
Mike Pence said yes. He said we win if we
you have ammo
control their
boxes?
finances, strip them of their resources, and they don't
No,
exist.
I'm
And I
playing
think
as
he makes a really
engineer.
great point that the potential off-ramp isn't that we all de-escalate. It's when we remove their ability to actually wage war. That is, go after the national financial sources, go after the NGOs, shut them down, and then maybe this country can get back on track and get some semblance of justice. But I'll put it this way. I would actually prefer that the Trump DOJ go after Letitia James. The problem is the fight against Letitia James pertaining to how they falsely brought charges against him. He had the Albert Bragg case. The Bragg case was, I think, the falsification of records because Bragg was it Bragg who brought that one? James was the civil fraud, right?
Yo, they're all
They're doing the same thing to her that she did to him. If you are trying to do you're in for a 20-year legal battle. So right now, I think the Trump administration is basically saying, how do we win? And how do they win? Mass deportations, reforming the electoral process, getting rid of these ballot boxes and ballot harvesting, all the scams that have been pulled off in these blue states. And then we'll see. I believe, based on the moves Trump is making, I think Miller knows this very, very well. They are looking at how elections are run in this country. If they are on top of this, and it seems like they might be, I'm not going to give them 100% of this one. I don't see how Republicans lose more teams.
Does it matter if they get convictions in these cases? Whether it's Tish James, or John Bolton, or other Democrats?
Yes, to a certain degree. Mitch Pence makes a great point in that we restrict their resources and what the shoebox from. But
So, like, the process is the public.
no, putting James in prison strips her ability to wage war. So it's taking too much. Take a look at Nick Sorter. Why did he get arrested when he was in DOJ got involved, and Nick had a bunch of followers. Nick was so run-of-the-mill conservative guy went to Portland. That guy be locked up.
Shot.
And they're aware of that. And this is not to be like, oh, everybody's special. But the reality is everyone does bring something different to the table. That person's specific talent is no longer there to be used by the opposition.
18 years ago, pregnant chicks because they're taking Tylenol. So we wait 18 years. They're on our side. Oh, really? Yeah. Really not kidding. My mom took a lot of Tylenol. My name's Tyler. It's pretty close to Tyler.
Brother, I have to interject because I'm not worried about it. We're just gonna
But really, you're right. But Tim, don't you not wrong? Don't you think in it like it's 18 years? They're getting abortions. The kids are all transing themselves. They're just gonna stay.
They're gonna. I've been predicting this. They're gonna watch twisted plots and become right wing.
Well, actually, this is a good point Seamus brings up with his twistedplots.com fundraiser. That liberals, they more likely to avoid kids, less likely to have kids in the first place, more likely to translate kids. So we're looking at, within the next 20 years, the next generation is going to skew massively conservative.
Yeah.
And then the next 20 years after that, entirely conservative. And the new left-right paradigm is, it's going to, like me and Seamus are going to hate each other. Because I'm going to be the first
Fringe, like
I know, it's gonna be like abortion only in very rare circumstances. Oh, you monster! Like that's the
Real.
That was the left in this country for a long time.
Right. And aren't men skewing right and women? Isn't that just chasm growing by
But
the
that
day?
is because of what you're describing.
Right.
In the 2000s, liberals weren't having kids as much as conservatives were. So again, to the point about twisted plots, though, which is why I agree, and I think it's great Seamus is doing this. There needs to be cultural content. The cringest thing ever is when these conservatives are like, why are you doing things for kids? Because we want to convince kids to be a part of our culture and our worldview. There were a whole bunch of pro skateboarders who preach gospel. And we had one guy come out here and did construction, and he had Bible verses on his vehicle. And he's not preaching, he's building skateboards. And they see this and ask him about it. He doesn't go to the point. He says, let me tell you about what it is that I do. How do you get kids to care about what it is you do? You have to reach them. You got to fish where the fish are.
Yeah, and what we're doing is like it's like PG to
Don't make the
PG-13,
screen,
not
dude.
super obscene, but not for like little kids either. Maybe it's something you want to watch first before showing your kids, but it's something that I think a lot of families for sure. And it's a very important asset in the culture war to be able to make entertaining
You're gonna
content.
tell me
because
that's
the left
not
didn't
bad heat
convince this
detection when my
country to
reticle's
abandon
right
its
on his
values and
body?
become psychotic by having lectures thrown in their movies, right? They just told stories that you walked away from thinking, oh wow, like the person who cheated on their spouse did turn out to be the good guy in that. Oh my gosh, like it was that guy was the Christian, the priest was evil.
I disagree. I think the example I can give being Captain America was what, 2010? And he's like, I really want to join the army so bad, I would lie to do it. And then 10 years later, they're like, I'm a girl boss who always had the power, but the man was holding me down. That was so conservatives never came out and celebrated content they wanted. They took it from the men.
Yeah.
And then when the woke started getting these jobs, they attacked culture intentionally. Now, conservatives, but it's funny because these values were Hollywood. It was an American principle. But when the woke took over and pushed it all out, default libs just got in line.
And simultaneously, if that's a word,
Easy word. How do we say that word? Remember that with acetaminophen? She's like, let's see how to say that word.
but at the same time, everyone, I was getting demonetized. I know, I'm sure you guys got hit. So while the woke were going
Imagine if
super
that
woke,
game was twice as
everybody
long.
who was trying to get that normal, regular, all-American content was getting banned and censored, right? That's a perfect storm.
It's not even 10 minutes.
Yeah, well,
Inside
that was the goal. Like they wanted to make sure that not only that they had control over what was considered acceptable for entertainment and stuff, but they also were simultaneously trying to accuse people that didn't ascribe to their worldview, trying to accuse them of being, all of the worst things imaginable. You know,
And then a lot of those people are now performing for Saudi princes.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
true, yeah.
It's like, right, Bill. I
Bill
call him
Burr.
right, Bill Burka, right? No, I don't know. The Crown Prince, he was a good guy, right?
Yeah, I
He had
didn't
a
mean
good
it.
time, right?
It's an accident. Yeah.
I brought one of those scarves for my
canceled
wife,
the-
wrapped her up.
You see this? He canceled the show or something?
Bill,
Yeah, because
he's
of the
getting
backlash.
annihilated. I mean, I've never seen more backlash on a comedian's
Oh.
Instagram than his.
Yeah, he canceled a live podcast taping 5 days ago because he's just getting absolutely obliterated.
Did you see his last ad in his podcast? Right, it was camel milk chocolate, right? He's doing all the... Oh, no, this will take your head off, right? You take one bite.
We'll talk about this one in a second, but we got to jump to this next story right here. We got this one from Fox 32 Chicago. This is the channel I watched my time growing up.
Yeah, dude, 32.
32, Simpsons on at 5:30.
That's right.
Yeah, Border Patrol vehicle rammed before clash on Chicago's southeast side, officials say. They say it happened around noon near South Avenue and East 105th Street in the East Side neighborhood. Chicago police say officers were called to 105 and 105 block of South Avenue for a crash involving federal
Where you going, dog?
CPD says they weren't part of the operation but responded. A DHS spokesperson said the incident began when a vehicle driven
I'm
by
leaving this war, dude.
rammed a Border Patrol vehicle and tried to flee. Agents pursued and eventually stopped the vehicle using a precision immobilization technique. DHS says 2 people then ran from the car but were caught and taken into custody. We actually have this video from Nick Sorter of what happened at
fucking
ABC
blew
7.
up, too. What
This
the
is wild. Check this out. A crowd starts forming with flags to defend the illegals who attacked DHS, and then they begin lobbing stones at the police.
Wait, why did the score start at 700?
Talked to some neighbors and some witnesses there on the scene and described to us what initially...
Judy, wait 1 second. I see Chicago police are arriving and putting themselves in the middle of the situation right now. It appears there might be someone in command, from what I can see, approaching the area. I'm not sure if this is in an attempt to start dispersing the crowd. But we have just in the last few seconds seen Chicago police would remain at bay, starting to put themselves in the middle of the...
They're throwing rocks now. There it is. You see him?
Protesters are starting...
Let's go back. Because he throws tear gas, but I want you guys, you can see one of the DHS guys looks over as a rock goes flying. Immediately after another rock goes flying.
Police would remain at bay.
So take a look at this guy
now
right here.
to put
He's
themselves...
going to look up the There's another one. Just launch tear gas.
Hoping to get away from the scene right now, Judy.
Okay, Michelle, you take care of yourself. I'm going to let her get off the phone. We really appreciate it. Get to a safe place.
Lots of deadly weapons.
So we're watching.
Indeed, absolutely. You know what? So tear gas. Look at this. They're throwing more gas. So I love this because these liberals are like, you're a little nigger, because you're defending the cops, and I'm like, they're my cops. Like it's when I hire security guards and they tell me like, I don't know, they tell me what to do. Like we were driving in Phoenix and we had this guy who was a SEAL guy for security, and it was me and Brandon. And Brandon was like, hey, you want to park? Where do you want to park? And I said, the security guy is hired specifically to tell me how to stay safe. These cops, these agents on the ground, are doing the job we voted for them to do. We have asked them to do this. They have stood in harm's way on our behalf for us. And this is important. Police were trying to arrest a criminal, and these people started attacking the police. So I'm not here to play these stupid games with these psychotic terrorists. When we ask these brave men to please go out here and do this job, and they get attacked.
Well, dude, and also, you can't take the phrase bootlicker seriously because 99% of the people who use it want higher taxes. they want more money. They want you to vote for the bootlicker.
If they're throwing rocks, those are deadly weapons. That is an escalation. And they're lucky that the police respond with tear gas. Rubber bullets or less than lethal means. We're throwing rocks at cops. We're trying to significantly hit them. Like serious bodily harm. What you're hoping for. If they hit a cop in the head and didn't have a helmet on, you could break his skull. You get what you ask for.
Yeah, exactly.
They're asking for violence.
Yeah, like again, aside from, I agree with you.
Well, they're starting violence.
Starting violence. Aside from just the morality of it, it is obviously not a smart idea to throw a rock at a person who has a gun. That is
I don't think that they actually do that.
Because then they might shoot the rock out of the sky.
I think they most likely have less lethal stuff. So they have paintball guns that have.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure these guys have guns, though.
Yeah, I think they.
I mean, these guys aren't riot control. These guys were out trying to arrest criminals. And then they what the Democrat administration did. I'm going to go back to Elad because he made this point. I hear a lot of people on the Democrats are eventually going to get back into power. You better watch out. Like, bro, they brought in, at the low end, 10 million illegal immigrants who are now engaged in violence against our law enforcement trying to deal with it. If Democrats get back into power, there's not going to be any
Dog.
They should all be deported.
There's a guy below us, by the way.
Those who are
Down
fighting
here.
against as agents.
They're not guaranteed to be immigrants, though.
No, but I think you should be that.
This place is fucking lit. Oh wait, that's not even. Man!
That wasn't even me, dude.
People who are advocating violence against
Who the fuck you were trying to talk to? Wasn't me.
Who lobby for revolution are a serious issue in our country.
Fix your goddamn eye, retard.
I feel very bad for it. There's so much fear among
Fucking piece of shit.
between activists online. I cover a lot of DHS arrests, and you could tell from the comments online, the little
course, you
activist
just
groups
fucking
around them,
took the
liking them
goddamn
for
shit.
Nazis, talk about shooting officers online very often on all these social media platforms. And it doesn't stop there, because then you also have Democrat politicians liking them to stop people like Tim Walz.
Alright, dog, I'm gunner.
So I foresee an increase in violence from these agents, not decrease it. And it makes me more sympathetic to the argument that these guys should be masked, because we're seeing a ton of people die and then they're not only seeing violence in the streets, but also
Oh shit.
once they go home. Well, I'm ambivalent on the max though.
Well, it's interesting. No, I mean, I think a lot of what you said there is right on the money. The left has murdered a moderate conservative who's speaking for college students. When you say this law enforcement agency that some fraction of the public doesn't like are Gestapo or are Nazis, what are you obviously calling them?
You know, I need to hit up Constantine.
Oh, this guy right here, right next to us. I think it might be an engineer with a rocket.
I mean, to be fair, there's in as well. But I was talking to them about war in the United States, and they made the point that most people the issue make that's not meant to be criticised. Most people aren't aware of how comics work, and so the point they make is common, and it's I go outside and I don't see anything like this. Why should I assume anything? And it's fascinating because
Man, I was about to get a fucking kill, man. Fucking retard bumps into me.
Every single person, every single house,
What is hitting me?
It's the tank behind you.
What a fucking bag, man.
conversation where we have. If you look at Chicago, it looks like the fact that DHS is now going to I think this may be the because our news team is why I've lost track of the in Chicago. One of the most infuriating videos I've seen was DHS trying to arrest pastors, presumably in the store, and this guy is screaming at them, help me. And people so you've got a guy here he voted as Americans to remove these people from law enforcement job. And there were people attacking our law enforcement to shut that job down. That is terrifying. We voted. The will of the people be done. They're responding in a place like Chicago, California. What's going to happen when it's over? He outright said he's going to take so the public taxpayer will be financing construction.
Yeah.
fucking embarrassing.
There's
Say something that we shouldn't say about the facility, right? I am not going I don't know if I can find this story. Let me see if I can get live streamers, NBC Chicago. But when Luke Rutkowski, hey, look at this. There it is. I did find it. Luke Rutkowski and I, as well as a handful of other people.
Wait. Hey, you trying to make him get out?
No, it's
Ottawa. From O to A.
This is a very old story. Look, it's gone. Oh, here we go. Live streamers, new faces of panels. We got profiled by NBC5 Chicago 13 years ago. And here we go. Tell me the story. Hey, here's why I'm not going back to Chicago. May 20th, 2012, independent journalist detained at gunpoint by CPD. Chicago police tried planting drugs in our car to put us in prison. Yeah, it's a crazy story. And I've been having this conversation security-wise with what time it is for a lot of people. And I said, guys, in Portland, Nick Sorter was attacked by Antifa, went to the police to report it, and they arrested him. It is only because he's got a large number of followers and the Trump DOJ intervened publicly that they decided not to press charges against him. In 2012, when I went to Chicago, Luke Rutkowski, myself, my friend Jess, and Luke's friend, I forget his name. You can see here, Tim Pool's been covering the NATO protests, was detained around 2 a.m. The long story short of it is, we got surrounded by like 10 vehicles, I can't remember the number, only 2 of them were marked. They illegally pulled us out, searched the vehicle, took all of our possessions and belongings. We're trying to pop open batteries and cameras to look at everything inside.
just saying I suck, dude.
Then some guy came up and said, so, you know, your vehicle matched.
You know what? I'm just gonna go fucking troll this guy now.
Long story short,
I'm just gonna go so fucking far away.
Were you flying? How are you flying?
No, I'm just staying up in the air. I'm done.
I was able to stop that from happening. After which we got tips.
Actually, I'm just gonna land on the runway here.
We got 3 focused drivers here. We're abiding by every law. Blinkers on.
That's having a pill bottle that doesn't belong to you in your vehicle is 4 years in prison mandatory. Yes, I gotta go move my car. So if we had actually, if that person was able to successfully plant those drugs in the car, and then we got pulled over a second time, I think what happened was the cops pulled us over hoping they would find us, thinking that these guys are gonna have something on them. They had previously arrested, there's something called like the NATO 5, arrested on terror charges because they found beer making equipment that they accused these leftists or anti-vax by having Molotov cocktails. It's not real at the time that it was just far released. So it's a long story. I talked about it before, but basically what happened was I instructed with us. They couldn't bring anything in the car, and anything consumable or disposable be thrown away, and the only thing they could bring with was hard equipment and
Fucking hit him how many times and he still doesn't die,
long story
man.
short, someone who we believe was under the direction of a police informant or police themselves was trying to sneak drugs into the car, and had we got pulled over. So where I am at right now.
That was Chicago?
That was Chicago, yeah. And Chicago's notorious for having black sites where they'll arrest, quote unquote, somebody and bring them to an undisclosed location to beat and torture them. People, like, this is Chicago, bro. You had John Burge, I think his name was. He would electrocute people and force confessions out of them with cattle prod or something like that. Charlie Kirk has been murdered. They are arresting
I don't give a shit, dude. I'm satisfied doing this.
They are clearly, by any means necessary, making moves against their enemy partisans. So I have been telling people, understand what time it is and what this means. If you go to a corrupt place like Chicago in the midst of a conflict where illegal aliens are attacking DHS, and the governor is siding with the illegal immigrants, and the judges are telling DHS to remove the barriers around their facilities to allow the rioters to attack them, what do you think they will do to you? It's real simple. To be fair, like someone like me, I may have a large enough following to where, like Nick Sorter, they'd back off. But there's going to be potential lesser known personnel. They're going to get grabbed. The cops are going to say, "Oops, found coke," and they're going to be out. know what's going on with that, but I'm telling you guys, understand what time it is. You show up and you're standing at the Raw Game Center for ICE or whatever. I think you are naive to think that they are not going to criminally charge you with something and they can make it up. That's what they did to Nick. I am not talking about a hypothetical. I am telling you Nick Sawyer was on camera being physically attacked by Antifa, and then the police lied to arrest him only because they were following him, and the DOJ got involved, and he was released with that charge. What's going to happen to the rest of us? Or anyone else who goes to these jurisdictions? You know what? Tell me I'm paranoid, that's fine. Look up the story, independent journalist detained at gunpoint by CPD. This has happened, and right now it's hotter than it's ever been.
Depending on where they are, how they treat people, it's absolutely obvious to anyone that would look. I mean, whether it be the FBI when it was under the previous administration going after parents because they didn't want their kids ideology or what have you, the way the FBI treated conservatives across the board. There were a bunch of people that were under investigation by the FBI, or the FBI was monitoring what they were doing and what they were saying. If you are public conservative and you are in the wrong jurisdiction, you will be targeted. The AG, if Jay Jones wins in Virginia next month, and you're a conservative, you can guarantee that you will not get treated to the same type of justice system that a Democrat would. This is without question.
An important point is Jay Jones said he wanted his opponent's children murdered, and that if he had the option to shoot Hitler, Pol Pot, or the Republican speaker in Virginia, he'd shoot the Republican speaker twice.
But him as DA, he's going to treat you fairly if you're a conservative. Give me a break. Give me a...
Oh, here's his buddy.
Superpower. What would that be?
I want to be invisible. Camouflaging. You can't see me. I'm invisible. Invisible.
And what would your superpower be?
Yeah.
That's insane.
This is on a much smaller scale, but in New York City, I think I talked about this 4 years ago. I was on your show. I got told I wasn't going to be hired twice to have it on tape. I'm now in year 4. We haven't even just finishing the discovery phase. Wow. And it's like, it's on my never seen a more clear case of discrimination. What do you think in New York City? What do you think New York City would be like?
Anything with sniping on this map is the way.
Tom, I'm sorry, not familiar with your case.
So much more
What was
fun.
it? Not hired because you were right. You were told that because you were.
I don't believe that.
To your face.
Well, it was on phone. So I was like, I was acting in a few shows. Not Chicago Med, actually played a drug addict. But so I just yeah, meth head acting. Meth acting. Yeah, meth head acting. Yeah, I was like the fucking But anyways, I was booking a lot of roles, and then all the BLM stuff, the first wave, then the second wave, and they started to tell me outright I would book a commercial campaign. They'd call and go, "We want you."
This guy's just wasting his own time
because you do impressions, whatever it is. But we got to put a black face or XYZ, and I started to document.
Bro, I don't even give a shit, dude.
Hey, we want you to be on SNL.
Guy's a dumbass, so
One of the big time agents.
by all means, I'll fucking sit back here the entire game. I don't give a fuck.
Stuff, and everyone was calling me the racist. This is what happened in New York City. And then I got the last call on tape, an acting manager, AGI they're called, and they said it's our company
Him and his butt buddy are on the strip.
They scouted me.
They said those words. They said it's our company policy
on
to not represent
tape.
white men.
I went on
Faggots.
Dr. Phil. I play. It's
that's insane.
And it's got no, whatever. Yeah, but that's just the reality.
Because what you understand is, imagine you go to Cutler and beg them to allow you to own your own homes and property. We're going to be like, yeah, okay. And I'm going to oppose your ideology. The same thing's true with us. I was told that they hired me. It was the negotiation that I literally had with the guys at Vice was, I could do social media live stream like
this guy, dog.
I was told by the producer I couldn't post for HBO because HBO didn't. When I went to Fusion, they had something was an event called Black
Dumbass. They destroyed themselves.
They contracted a collective media. And when I asked the president of the company, why did they bring someone else in? But I'm talent. He said,
Nice, dude.
second generation mixed races.
Against the law, right? The Civil Rights Act prevents that.
And it's literally 4 years I've been spending half my time while being called the racist freak.
And the Republicans are like, we can't do that. It is the norm.
I want to hold this story. I want to hold this story from ABC7 Chicago. What happened?
The entire game is done now.
By court orders, experts weigh in. Well, they're too terrified to put the real headline up on ABC7, but the actual statement made by their journalists is: federal law enforcement have defied.
Are you still in the jet?
using riot control munitions in Chicago, which
So, you're dead or
may or may
alive?
not be true. Doesn't matter. Liberals in Illinois and in these jurisdictions now
You're alive?
operating under the assumption that Trump is defying the courts. Let me play this this news report from ABC7.
I'm just gonna spam the helicopter. See if I can get it.
Allegations
Are you gonna try to do it too?
agents not following
Yeah, still just to fucking irritate them.
and questions today over potential
Did you see his name when he died?
During an
Who's the guy you were talking to in chat?
video appears to show agents deploying tear gas against the
Tactical Rigid.
I don't think it's that. I think it's the
something
other
that is
one.
unlawful under
Oh yeah, Saturdays. Yeah, Saturdays.
Immigration agents outside of a church in Rogers Park Sunday during a Spanish-language mass. Questions tonight over whether they had warrants targeting specific people or were there without warrants, something that requires additional probable cause and an assessment of an immigrant's flight risk.
What we have seen now on a much larger scale is federal agents indiscriminately stopping and arresting
Oh fuck, I was too late.
and without probable cause required by federal immigration laws.
A fence still up around the Broadview ICE facility, restricting access to a public road tonight after a judge ruled it should be taken down. The deadline to do so
If I
is
meant to
tomorrow
play
night.
like that
But what
every time
happens
with
if
guns,
federal
then I
agents
wouldn't be too mad
refuse?
about it.
I am very worried about where we are right now. We are on the precipice looking into the abyss of chaos. If somebody says the judiciary makes a decision and then the executive branch ignores it, that's chaos.
Former federal prosecutor Ron Safer says federal judges can rule according to the law. But if the executive branch, in this case federal agents, refuse to follow those rulings, judges don't have an army to enforce their orders.
Normally, judges enforce their ruling by contempt orders, and then the person who is violating the order is fined or imprisoned if it's bad enough. How do you do that to a cabinet level official? And who is going to enforce that?
At that point, the Constitution and American norms require the executive branch to enforce itself, something Safer is skeptical the president will do.
Let's just put it this way. We got about another minute to play, but let's put it this way. There are law enforcement officers at the Broadview facility, which is southwest side of Chicago, being instructed to remove the protective barrier that is keeping them safe from violent extremist riders following past several months terror attacks on several ICE officers and guards. A judge has now ruled the fence must be taken down by law enforcement, and if these cops do not remove it, they will need to be arrested by law enforcement. So, answer me this. Which law enforcement division is going to arrest other law enforcement officers at the federal level for protecting themselves from terrorists? Does anybody think it's reasonable that if I go to FPS and say, a judge ruled that what CBP did is illegal, you go and arrest them. What do? They put up shields and barriers to protect themselves from violent extremists who are trying to kill them. They're going to say no, because then when we try to protect ourselves, we get arrested too, so we're not going to do it.
It is presidents will respect the decisions of the courts, that they
I'm
will
down.
respect the views of the governors. That's out the window. And that is going to create and is creating crises on the streets and in Washington and across the country.
Now, the IC reached out to us about the incident in Albany Park. We have not heard back, but whatever party is in power, the courts are the answer for potential government overreach. But the enforcement doesn't come from the courts if you're talking about the federal government. It comes from the federal government.
So right now we have, once again through the year, there have been a series of terror attacks against ICE over the past several months. Some with people hiding with long guns and opening fire to police. And now you have ongoing and sustained riots. You have numerous instances in Chicago where people have rammed NHS vehicles.
Yo, that is
that
fucking
trying to kill
insane.
these ICE officers.
Two
Just
fucking
today, as we covered in the previous segment,
RPG snipes in a row. That's
CBP
fucked
vehicle
up.
was rammed by illegal immigrants. They pulled a pit maneuver, fled, and a crowd formed and began lobbing rocks at these police. A court told these cops to remove their protection. By tonight, it must be removed. If the cops do not remove it, they are subject to contempt from the courts. How does this country function when a judge says to a police officer,
rationale for that. Well, I mean, we know why he did it. It's because the police are his enemy, and people breaking the law are those who he wants to protect. I don't think there's any other rational explanation for it. But what's the pretext? What was his argument from law?
Pretext was that it blocks streets, that any need to run the state.
Okay, so the fence around their facility is they're arguing it would prevent emergency services.
I think that's pretty obvious. When the ICE facility in Portland boarded the windows, the city ordered them to remove it. It's like what they're actually saying is, we will use the power of bureaucracy so that you are forced to expose yourselves because conservatives keep playing by the rules. They keep saying like we must abide by the laws and the rules. Even Trump was just ordered by a judge. He's allowed to federalize the National Guard. How does that make sense? He's allowed to assume command of the National Guard, but he can't give commands to the National Guard?
Zero sense.
Makes zero sense. But Trump keeps saying okay to unconstitutional acts by judges. Why is it? How does this country function when one political faction says we will abide by all rules, unconstitutional otherwise, and the other side says we won't?
Well, and this is the crux of the entire immigration issue. For literal decades, what the left did is they intentionally failed to enforce laws that are already on the books and that people voted for with respect to immigration. And now that the country's been flooded with tens of millions of people who don't belong here, they want to see every minutia of the law when it comes to removing those people.
Objective marked. We need you supporting the attack. Principles are a tool to use against them. They do not care about the law. They only care about the exercise of power. Whatever argument they make, they will make the argument tomorrow when it is convenient. It does not matter what the law is. They only care about exercising power. And most of the people who make arguments, they don't even understand if there's an end goal. They just know that they do that, and so that they should just say whatever they can to stymie it.
Exactly. They're teaming a fantasy. Quite literally will do anything against logic and reason. Doesn't hurt.
I think it's worth talking about how the Democrats and the left set up a coalition structure to permit them, activists and protest siblings to obstruct legal law enforcement from doing their job to such a degree that the right has become way too comfortable with. So we're seeing Democrats around the country encourage activists and protesters to obstruct DHS activity at their different court hearings, at different CBP key areas where they're having their
Bro, how
processing
does he
facilities.
fucking
They're
one-shot me
blocking
like
the
that, dude?
gates.
I was sitting in a corner for like
their
10, 20 seconds,
vehicles
and
are
I get
escorting
one-shotted
different
by a
illegal
fucking
immigrants that they've detained and literally obstructing their duties, but they're not really being arrested for it, and I think that's a serious issue. These aren't just, random activists that are doing it. It's elected Democrat officials that are getting in the way. So, for example, in New Jersey, there was this this freshman rep, Monica McIver, who was not arrested, I believe, charged for assaulting an ICE officer. In New York City, we are seeing Democrats like Brad Lander and Jamani Williams obstruct at immigration courts in New York City, where DHS is trying to arrest illegal immigrants. And
dude, it's so sad
they're describing
because my shot is so good right now.
Fascists. They're not, in their language, detaining and arresting people. They're kidnapping and disappearing them. So this rhetoric gives their activists and protesters the permission structure to say, when we obstruct this activity, it's actually a good thing. So I also think I saw Democrat, she's running for the House somewhere in Chicago, Kat Abuzagala, and she was also obstructing the gates and encouraging others to obstruct the gates outside these ICE facilities. And I don't think this is a sustainable thing. I don't think DHS will continue to allow these protests to happen outside their ICE facilities because they are legitimate obstruction of what they're trying to change. Non-legal. We're also seeing different police not collaborate with DHS in their communities. So when protesters protest outside this Chicago ICE facility, they're dealing with it by themselves. And you don't see the Chicago Police Department defending ICE or the ICE facility.
Let's check the story from New York Post on how serious this is. New York Post reports Mexican cartels put bounties of up to $50,000 on heads of ICE CBP officers in Chicago. Mexican criminals have offered Chicago gangs up to $50,000 to murder top officials of ICE and CBP. DHS released Tuesday in an intelligence bulletin. DHS revealed $260 bounties starting at $2,000 for doxing and families in two southwest Chicago neighborhoods, Pilsen and Little Village. Local gangs have deployed armed spotters to rooftops to track law enforcement movements and relay the details via radio. The surveillance has enabled ambushes and disruptions during routine enforcement actions, including recent raids under Operation Midway Blitz, said DHS, which added that non-lethal assaults, rank-and-file ICE and CBP officers could make between $5,000 and $10,000. These criminal networks are not just resisting the rule of law, they are waging an organized campaign of terror against the brave men and women who protect our borders and communities. Kristi Noem said in a statement. They're facing ambushes, drone surveillance, death threats, all because they dare to enforce the laws passed by Congress. We will not back down from these threats. And every criminal, terrorist, and illegal alien will face justice. I'm just going to stop. Trump needs to invoke the Insurrection Act. This is not a game. We cannot have criminal gangs and cartels telling us how we live our lives.
Yeah, because these judges and certain law enforcement agencies in this country seem to be on the same side as these criminal organizations that are putting hits out on law enforcement agencies that are actually accountable to the president and obeying the chain of command.
Look, this is, if there are cartels that are, putting price on the head of ICE officers and stuff, maybe it's time that the federal government start applying pressure on the Mexican government.
Yeah. 50,000. I mean, that'll get you producer credit on my Give Send Go. I think that'll get you ownership.
not ownership. We would appreciate 50,000.
But yeah, I mean, look, the United States currently has stated that there are terrorist organizations, the cartels are terrorist organizations. This is the game that the cartels want to play. There is a history of the United States using the military to go after cartel members. Those ships tend to be leaving from Venezuela. So the point being, like, this is not a fight they actually want to pick, right? Like, the U.S. has ample ability to take apart terrorist organizations, which have shown, whether people want to admit it or not, like, the politics in the Middle East have been problematic, but the actual ability of the United States to find and kill terrorists, that is unquestionably, they are the most deadly organization in the world. And so all the people that are like, well, if you go after the cartels, they're going to go after American people. they're putting the prices on the heads of ICE agents and stuff, that means they're already going after them. And if they're going after Americans for enforcing immigration, not going after the cartel members in Mexico, not for disrupting their organization's business, but because ICE has audacity to try to report what are likely cartel members, because they're not going to try and target ICE just because they're going after people that are of Mexican origin.
Just illegals. They're going after just illegals.
Yeah, but the point that I'm making is if the cartels are going to put a bounty on ICE's head, it's because they're deporting people that give them influence or sell drugs in the United States. So if the U.S. wraps up cartel members, sends them back, deports them, the cartels don't like them because they're less influential, they have less power. So if that's the case, right, why shouldn't the U.S. start sending drones into Mexico to monitor what the cartels are doing?
Or he could do Trump. He'll like tell a terrorist he knows where they are.
Yeah.
Where Jose is. He's sitting in his living room in his neighborhood.
I got your IP address. I hacked it.
He's watching Girls, which is a really nasty show.
That's it. No better. Give him a little heads up. Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree with everything you're saying there, Phil. Obviously, something needs to be done. The fact that, and you're right, because listen, the idea was to go after people with a prior rap. And a lot of people you hear about getting arrested, so that's like 5 felony, 30 times. That a lot of those people would
do it all myself, man. There's no one gonna go to B.
An asset to us here and try to step in.
Look, we're heading into a period of increased civil strife. I'm going to put on Tim Poolbini for a moment. I don't know if it's going to lead us to civil war, but violence towards right-wingers or right-wing coded people has become completely normalized. The rhetoric surrounding it has become completely normalized. The permission structure around
it's like,
it
hey, which flag would you rather have to
on the left's perspective, we're hurting, we're taking down people who are violent towards the spirit people who are Nazis, who are Gestapo, who are affirming or allowing these people to continue to exist. One of the reasons why I'm so ambivalent about the DOJ and these charges is because you know Kristi Noem is going to be charged the next time a Democrat is in the House or is in charge again. And you know Stephen Miller is also going to be charged for things related to their ICE or DHS activity. But I also suspect there being more violence against these guys. I suspect there to be more violence coming towards right-wingers because the permission structure again is set up. It's become normalized on the left for them to talk about the right-wing people in these violent groups.
Even just reputation destruction too. Yeah. It's like it starts with. I mean, during COVID, I saw the Cedarville case, where you just call somebody far right erasure. That's where it started. It's like the small crimes in the cities. You don't give them a ticket, or you don't, prosecute them for stealing something from CVS, and it just grows.
It's worth mentioning the mentality of the people who are fighting back against ICE. They think they're superheroes. I think it's worth. They think they are saving the world. They think they are fighting for humanity. They think they are literally have an Anne Frank that they're hiding in their basement or something like that. Yeah. That's what they believe in their minds, and they are so morally righteous that it's justified for them to be violent against ICE agents. It's actually morally wrong for them to not be because these guys are literal Nazis that might as well be taking their neighbors to gas chambers. That's how they moralize this.
I think you're completely right. And by the way, if this is the way they're acting and what they're doing while we have power, what do they do if they come to power again? Exactly. But I mean, it's going to be even worse. What if Kamala Harris had 110 days? She. How many days do you think that book would have gone if she had like 4,000 days? Dude,
my entire life.
Fun. She's wonderful. She was a lot of fun.
I think that if Democrats are to get back executive branch power, you are going to get
and worse. I mean, you're going to get those indictments, but you're also going to see street violence against conservatives.
Well, that's going to happen now because they don't.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying but I think it's going to increase if they take power again because we're in power and no one's doing anything to stop it. When Democrats are in power, they're definitely not going to do anything to stop it.
But I don't care about street violence. Obviously, it's a problem. What's going on in Chicago and Portland and things like this. But where I'm at right now, don't come to West Virginia. You will find out what happens when you come to a constitutional carry state.
Safe here.
Bringing this violence. However, if Democrats get power, then they are going to. They brought. Listen, We all saw what happened in Egypt after the Second Revolution. The Muslim Brotherhood kept winning, so they decided to...
Your name is bro.
Democrats returning to power are going to say, listen, we have tried the censorship, we've tried the
Get a
suppression,
grip.
it doesn't work against these people, they have to be exiled by force.
Fuck, dude, that's funny.
And they've already tried smears, lies, and destruction related to Alex Jones. The Supreme Court won't even hear his appeal on this ridiculous $1.4 billion defamation case. They falsely accused me, Benny, Dave, and
Nice, dude. Standing in the corner, fucking shit talking back. No.
the next step is pretty obvious. They lost. They're pissed. If Trump does not win, then I imagine all of us in this room are going to be in some kind of legal trouble to varying degrees.
Yep, already.
And sure, but I think you'll see.
I'm the one suing, though. I just wanted to point that out.
You'll see. There'll be an escalation of force. There's going to be, from the NGO level, lawsuits against prominent right-wing individuals at the lower level.
Nice, dude.
Outright indictments. They'll fabricate evidence. They'll use the
Well, I have a 50% chance of that being potentially correct.
So pay attention right now to
What are you talking about, dude?
political space. Indeed, they are. And I think it's because there are a lot of people who are sitting there being like, you know, it's have you guys seen the movie Dog? Yeah. Jameis? I feel like you'd be offended by this part. So, Azrael is a demon, and the battle between heaven and hell, he refused and refused to fight. And so, when he's challenged by this, he says, I was confused, I have no place in the battlefield, and they go, what the heck? Prominent people, and it's not just now. There are a lot of people in the attempts who are active against wokeness, and then all of a sudden one day, they stop making content because they saw what will happen to you. Well, now it's 10 times worse. 100 times worse. There are people who are starting to show up and say, oh, no, they're backing off, or they're trying to sound more lefty. And I think it's because people are starting to realize what time it is. And they don't know that Trump is going to win this. I don't know that Trump is going to win this either, but I'll be damned if I'm going to do anything that benefits psychopathic murderer Democrats to win in the upcoming elections.
You know, I noticed a lot of people backing off immigration this year. Like, during the campaign, they were real tough on immigration, but now, once we're in power, have the ability to deport as many illegals as we legally can. People are saying, oh, gee whiz, I don't know if that's the best idea. I don't know if we should just be rounding up every person across the border illegally. Or, oh, man, I don't know if DHS should be using my videos of when I finally said that, you know, we should be deporting we should be deporting all these people. And like, oh, gee whiz, you got kicked out. That's too bad. No, now that's not funny.
You sound like me on a date in New York City.
That's really
Let me explain. When you see prominent individuals pulling away or backing off and saying, I don't know about all this stuff, man, what they're actually saying is, I am well aware the escalation has reached a point to where those that have chosen a side and lose will be tortured, imprisoned, and locked in school. And they're trying to back away. We talked about this the other day. I said it's a political wager, Pascal's wager. And the wager is, if you are on the left and the left wins, you're good. If you are on the left and the right wins, you're good. It's not going to gulag. If you are on the right and the right wins, you're good. If you are on the right and the left wins, you're going to get locked in prison. So the safest thing you can do is support the left. Because when the right wins, they're not going to lock you in prison. At least not for being a public speaker. If you're a terrorist,
even maybe not.
All these far left podcasters, in the event that the right dominates the midterms, maintains control of this function of government, ain't nobody's going to go and arrest Hassan Piker or David Pakman or Sam Cedar. Any of these guys, they're totally fine. We've already seen what the Democrats are willing to do in the other direction. So that's the wager, and now you're seeing prominent individuals all of a sudden are backing off. They supported Trump, and now they're saying, I don't know about this.
I got me too for asking a woman for coffee at Fox News. Not one person.
That was you?
Yeah.
Oh, I never repeated that story.
You guys covered it. But I know that's not, you know, we're not talking about violence. But that is a character assassination. I just from that one thing, the profit of my entire comedy tour. Because I would go and go was a lefty, right? I was a brainwashed lefty. I was raised that way. My dad came out as gay. My brother's gay. I was raised at drag shows. I was like the best Democrat warrior that they lost. So I was a little naive, but that was a big wake-up call. And I was like, wow, this one thing where I was demonized for it and called a predator for asking a woman for love. By the way, gave me a phone. This was like a 2-minute interaction.
No, it's hyper ironic given Fox News' history of sexual
I think
assault.
that's probably
overcompensating here.
Tim, I was jumping up and down because Tim on the show said, you know what I think happened? Because I know Tyler. I think somebody saw it, a local manager or whatever, and reported it, which is exactly what happened. She lied about the story in an insane way.
Do you think if you were hotter that she would have taken or it's complete stuff?
No, she would have, because it wasn't the woman I asked out.
You're a handsome guy. I like your body.
What, I look like Ryan
I don't know,
Gosling?
maybe if you had 6 more inches.
All right, you look like hipster Ben Shapiro. Okay, this roast is running my expression. No, but hold on. But my point is, the woman I asked out didn't complain. She never has, and she still hasn't. It was the older woke woman who saw me asking somebody out and reported it.
She was
Right, exactly. And then made up a bogus story, which was a huge mistake.
It's another lawsuit.
Yes, but my point is, you have to fight this little stuff. And nobody had my back. Which is fine. But to Tim's point, right now we're in a spot where it's 10 times as hard. And if you're not going to fight the little stuff,
Let's just say it. Okay, the people who know what's going on in this country but won't say anything.
Yes.
Now I'm not saying that to insult people. I understand why they're scared. But let's just understand, all that is required for evil to triumph is that good men do nothing. So all of these people that are out there that know exactly what's going on but refuse to speak out against it are the reason why we're in this mess.
Weak men. That's it. Gals are gonna be gals.
Well, let's jump to this next story. We got this one from Politico. Who wants to read the headline?
Politico.
Thanks, Divya. Please put me on the spot here.
From Politico. I love Hitler. Leaked messages expose young Republicans' racist chat.
I ain't reading that quote. Thousands of private messages reveal young GOP leaders talking about gas chambers, slavery, and rape. I gotta be completely honest with our audience. When we read this, we were all laughing. Like
I was crying.
He was upset. He was like, "You guys are bad." No, we were just busting out laughing. Milo made a tweet about it. And he was like, "There was not one hard R in the whole chat." And he's offended by that. Here's the story. Leaders of young Republican groups throughout the country worried what would happen if their Telegram chat.
Damn, dude, you got 0 caps, he says, dog.
And the watermelon people, and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. They talked about raping their enemies and driving them to suicide, and lauded Republicans who they believed supported slavery. Now, I want to clarify too. I don't believe Politico.
What would you do if you saw that guy in real life?
Like actually published all the messages. I'd be willing to bet a lot of it is dark humor.
Probably.
I'm sure a lot of the use of the slurs are like legitimate racist epithets.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not. But like, I don't think they're literally saying they want to gas chamber people. I think they're trying to make edgy jokes.
Well, I just want to point this out. This is a weird thing to catch, but Politico has this weird thing about the word muse for whatever reason, because when Jay Jones talked about, in his private text messages, talking about shooting his opponent, talking about wanting to see that person's children die in their arms, it was like he mused about the children dying. You're like, that is just a very bizarre use of that word. But again, the greater point here is really text messages. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's right. That was also very bizarrely named.
I mean, look at this message.
Yeah, like, what do captures mean
is,
if we have one
I think there's a lot of things that are wrong to say. But when Democrats are out there, like, fantasizing about their opponents' children dying and their actual, politicians running for re-election, and the media says nothing to condemn it, and no one comes out and condemns it, and then those same people are posting about this, talking about radicalization, it's impossible for me to take them seriously.
Let me read this. Someone wrote,
I see them.
everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber, and everyone that endorsed but then votes for us is going to the gas chamber. Someone responded, if they vote for us, why would they?
Dude, I shot that guy like 5 times in the head, man.
He's basically, he's making it ironic, he's being edgy, he's trying to be offensive. I'm going to create some of the greatest physiological torture methods known to man. We only want true believers. I would argue that if they were being serious in these posts, then they sound like they.
Wait, do you only capture the flag on the ground floor?
I think I got JD Vance's tweet. He says, "This is far worse than anything said in a college group chat." And the guy who said it could become the AG of Virginia. I refuse to.
I swear I stopped capturing when I went up the stairs.
So this is we've got this from Kalshi. Shout out Kalshi for sponsoring.
Oh, come on, move.
Who will win the Attorney General race in Virginia? This is Jay Jones and Jason Miyares, and Jones has collapsed following this scandal. But Jones said in a post, when asked, "You weren't simply asking questions. You know, I genuinely was. I wasn't attacking you. I was trying to understand your logic. You weren't trying to understand. You were talking about hoping Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. Yes, I've told you this before. Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy." This is a guy who wants to be the AG in Virginia, saying he wants his opponent's children to die, so they side with his policy. Well, fortunately, Kalshi's prediction model shows that he is collapsed. Miyares is now a 2-1 favorite. I mean, look how crazy it is. The Democrats were a 99% chance to win, and now it's flipped 62-39.
You know what I predict? I think that it's possible he might end up being condemned, but they would wait to throw him under the bus until they're 100% certain he will lose. Because to them, winning the election is too important. But if he gets
Dude, what the fuck?
wins, the polls are really bad, or after the election's over, when he does lose, they'll be saying,
what the fuck was that?
Exactly.
We know the soul of Virginia. We trusted Virginians to
Yeah.
And then they'll say things like, "Oh well, I condemned it." It'll be people who condemned it after the election. Well, of course I condemned it. They didn't condemn it when he was running. When he counted.
All right, objective Charlie has been secured. And I mean, thankfully, I mean,
Oh
from
shit,
my
is he
perspective,
upstairs?
I'm thankful that the people of Virginia seem to be, you know, aware that this is a terrible, or that would be a terrible situation. Because, like I said earlier, if he did win,
Fucking
if he
faggot,
was the
man.
AG,
God,
then every Republican in Virginia could guarantee that they would not. So a lot of people are talking about like, what he said and the things that he said. Like they are important.
I think somebody's upstairs.
The underlying point is this is going to make everybody in Virginia that is a Democrat a moving target.
I want to read one before they say political. At least one person is out there in Jeff Wilson, Trump, and Michael Bartels, who, according to his retweet, that serves as a senior advisor in the Office of General Counsel in the U.S. Small Business Administration. Bartels did not have much to say, but yes, he did offer a pushback against the offensive president. A notarized affidavit.
Oh, is there always 2 sets of stairs?
Restore what we are. Bartels references Wax as well. He wrote that he did not give Politico the chat and that Wax demanded in a phone call that he provide the full chat. When I attempted to resist that demand, providing some of those questions, Wax threatened my professional stand and raised the possibility of potential legal action related to an alleged breach of non-disclosure agreement. Bartels claimed in the affidavit. Opposition within the New York Young Republican Club was directly threatened. Walker, who now leads the New York State Young Republicans, touched on the name, saying that he believes portions of the chat may have been altered, taken into context, or otherwise manipulated. The private exchanges were obtained and released in a way clearly intended to inflict harm. Young apologized, so there is no excuse for language, blah, blah, blah. Look at this. 251 times says, mixed into formal conversations about whipping votes, social media strategy, and logistics, members of the chat slung around an array of
I left the
slurs,
house.
which Politico is republishing now to show how they spoke. Epithets like
Oh my god, I just...
retarded, unredacted by the way, and N-GA.
Feel like they're one shot
times. In one instance, Walker took time to stand up for court, talked about how a mutual friend and
Holy shit.
dated this very obese Indian woman for a period of time. Giunta responded the woman was not Indian, she just didn't bathe often. I don't know why that's supposed to be offensive. Someone thought a person was Indian and said, "This is not Indian, she doesn't bathe." Is the implication the guy thought he was Indian because she didn't bathe?
Yeah, I think that's the offensive part.
They're offended by that. Samuel Douglas, a state senator from northern Vermont, also the head of the State's Young Republicans, replied to Giunta in a separate conversation. So apparently, the actual story here is that there's an offensive group chat, and because they're angry with each other. So I think all of these people are retards and scumbags. And I don't care about the language of like an edgy things that the other are trying to do.
There's more fucking rockets, man.
If they're actual Nazis, I'm not interested in working with them. But it's like I'm not going to debate them. If they want to ship to hell with that idea, then we can debate them. But whoever leaked this is an absolute scumbag. Because spreading private internal communications that are expected to be private is a violation of loyalty. And the lowest circle of hell is reserved for the betrayers and the loyal. And this was a political weapon used to empower the left to cancel and it is just the utmost scumbag. That being said, a lot of the stuff in here that is offensive and whatever, by all means, these guys are scumbags too. I don't care. But I think disloyalty is substantially worse than being offensive.
I think as far as group chats go, this is actually extremely tame. I don't know if you guys are in group chats. Really, as far as group chats go, it's hard to but I think it's fascinating.
A lot's in a group chat where it's literally just the N-word over and over again.
I would never say anything untoward
Behind the
in
fucking
a group
wall.
chat. I've never even been in a group chat where any curse word has been. Did they put retard in the 200?
Hey, why don't you let Captain Flames because no one fucking pushes
I really care about the word retard.
I don't, you know, I think in private conversations, people like to be sarcastic and even offensive and even say racist things. So do I think, you know, those are commendable things? Not exactly, but do I think they're condemnable? I don't think it's really worth condemning. And, you know, the fascinating part here is how Democrats treat the so-called bad actors on their side who say things that are bad or just as bad. So the example you guys used earlier was this J guy running for Attorney General here in Virginia, Abigail Spanberg, the person who's running above the ticket for governor here in Virginia during the debate they recently had, refused to condemn, refused to, you know, unendorse the guy. But on the right, when we have people saying, you know, some allegedly problematic things, you already have people like Mike Lawler coming out of the woodwork, you know, happy to condemn because they're scared of the repercussions. I just want to read you guys what Mike Lawler said on this just to kind of analyze what Democrats... No. I don't even have any friends. I'm actually not in any group chats. If you have any group chats that, you know, allegedly racist things in them, I have no friends. I'm not in any group set. But I want the reaction, I think, to the bad actors in the party is what's important to recognize here. This is what Mike Lawler's reaction to this was. He said, I'm disgusted by the hateful anti-Semitism and racism revealed in these messages. Anyone involved in this disgraceful behavior should immediately resign from any leadership position and reflect on how far they've strayed from basic decency and respect. I don't think this pearl clutching is getting us anywhere, especially in this day and age, trying to excommunicate people over at best an untoward language. But again, as far as group chats go, these conversations are relatively tame. I'm surprised you didn't find something more outrageous.
Oh my
like
god,
the Indian
man!
joke is really as crazy as it gets.
Yeah,
they counted every
I'm not moving out of our spawn, dude. If no one's gonna push...
I don't think we're going to get very far by condemning this kind of stuff. The Democrats don't condemn this sort of stuff inside of their party. The pearl clutching is getting us nowhere.
People have obviously never been in an Xbox and COD Call of Duty room. This is a non-story. Like, they're young dudes.
They're a bunch
talking S.
Bunch of nobodies. Like, that's what I'm saying. These are not high-ranking party officials or anything.
I don't think that matters. The point that I'm making is they're young guys that are just trying to be irreverent. They're just trying to say things that are edgy. Nowadays, these are the edgy things to say.
They also spend their childhood being told they can't say any of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 50. Like this kind of hearing these kind of jokes.
That was poetry.
This is no big deal.
Did anything they say rub you worse than any like dumb joke on Family Guy or South Park or something? Because I really feel like they barely touched the line on saying a controversial things. I don't know if I'm missing something.
Nobody that's actually complaining about this actually has a problem with people saying edgy things. It's just that this is a vector of attack. They don't have principles. Stop thinking that they care about anything. They don't have principles at all. They are just using this as a counterattack. That's it.
Their principal personality for live streams, Alexis is gone. Instant America deserves 9/11. The only thing.
Dude, in calls for violence in
I'm gonna triple
craft
kill
against
by
people
myself,
all the time.
and none of my
Videos have come
teammates
out of
fucking
Hassan
popped up.
trying to like hide the electroshocker remote, and it's just like this other streamer QT is like, I did see the shot collar, but the prongs were removed and there's tape over it.
Why did it take
So it
5
just
seconds?
vibrates. It's like, so it's a literal shot collar, but it took the prongs off of it. I'm so confident saying this right now. I don't believe that Hassan Piker has any capability to file defamation against anybody accusing him of electrocuting his dog, because he literally held up a shot collar and it was confirmed by another streamer, and it is now just basically public knowledge, and there's an image of what appears to be a remote out of the way. So I'm pretty confident at this point it is reasonable for any person observing this to conclude Hassan electrocutes his dog. That being said, I bring it up for fun because it's funny, but my point is, as Phil mentions, they have no principles. These are the kind of people that they watch, okay? No one actually cares on the right about naughty words. The only reason these got leaked was to give weapons.
I've never died
to
so
the
fast
left
in my
to
life.
destroy these people who are scared of it. No one on the left actually cares if these people say these naughty words, because the left uses the same words all the time as well. So this is just a political...
And they are the words.
Yeah, look, if they were Palestinians saying gas the Jews, they'd be fine with it.
That dude is denaturalized and deported. Wait for in Minecraft though.
Well, yeah, and in
Minecraft. Not in real life. He needs to be denaturalized.
One of my videos go viral. He covered my Jordan Peterson impression.
Roll
Thought I
back.
was making fun of Jordan, and I got a million views from it. And then he looked at one of my tweets, and I called Americans patriots, and he turned on me, and I literally started getting death threats like that.
Oh, not
But that's the thing, lefties...
Backstabbing here is the worst part of this.
Yeah.
Lefties will send death threats to comedians. They'll kill people to celebrate that they got murdered, and then they'll fantasize about their opponent's children dying in their arms, and no one on the left will condemn it. No one on the left will say anything about it.
So,
guys, the backstab...
Sorry, so the story right now, the rumor is, we don't know this is true or not, but the rumors are that Gavin Wax, Republicans, I guess, is that what he's leaked these.
He's not part of the process.
Oh, he works for combat businesses. So the rumor is that he leaked these. I don't know if that's true or not, but everybody, if you search on X over the story, basically everybody's saying Gavin Wax leaked these to people.
There was some friendly competition between the New York Republicans and the New York City Republicans. Gavin Wax was the president, former president of the New York City Young Republican Party. Fighting for the, I don't know, the Republican, to be the Republican of New York, the face of the Republican Party in New York. But I guess, again, the most fascinating thing here is it's your best friend, it's your buddy, it's the person in your party, knives out, ready to stab you in the back. To who? To Politico. To Dasha Burns. It's probably not written by Dasha Burns, but to the fake news Politico.
I'm bummed I was supposed to perform at their next. They asked me to go. They're Young Republicans, and now I'm like, I could have been like, what's up, retard?
Start dropping epithets in the emails.
Yeah, reading the
They'll know you're one of them.
Backdrops, Swazi.
Yeah. Hey, these are all from the texts.
No, the
Not my
Swazi
words.
Star is old school. You need to get
Dude,
the
this
Sonic
Matthew
Garage
guy is
and
fucking
get it spinning.
Every time he's around me, he dies.
But yeah, I mean,
Speaking to Politico, really, guys, that's the issue too with the news media organization. Why are they so powerful? Why are all these left-leaning outlets? Why do they get all these amazing scoops? It's because right-wingers leak to them. It's because influential right-wing people, allegedly Gavin Wax, again, somebody
Get
who's
out of the
in
way.
administration right now, working in the administration, he's leaking to these left-wing outlets. Where do these Republican senators leak to? The New York Times, the Washington Post. So I think there's a serious issue with the news media ecosystem.
Sorry, can you clarify why?
It was claimed to release the tips part of a highly coordinated year-long character assassination led by Gavin Wax in the New York City Young Republicans Party, the once obscured internecine war that has now spilled out.
Guys, keep your beef in the cow, right, guys? In-house. Don't let it spill out. The left man just to keep it in-house.
I think that's because we still live in a leftist society.
Holy
Even though there's people that don't acknowledge this, the left still have massive control over everything. Like Donald Trump getting into office office and starting to disassemble the bureaucracy is only the very, very tip of the iceberg. The left still control the vast majority of the media. They control Hollywood. They control a significant amount of
Wow, so many people are calling me an N-word right now. I guess I have a lot of people to think to Politico about. You guys ready for those scoops?
Yeah, I mean, literally, who cares? People, like, if you're worried about being called
I'm going to expose
AI. Absolutely.
Bill actually shared it with us and offended, so I'm sharing it with you.
So Tim, I want to ask you. I think these guys got fired from, or got a job offer rescinded. If you found out one of your employees was in a group chat saying N's, F's, R's, would you fire them?
You said the N-word on the
The answer is context matters. Like Count Dankula, in fact, more objectives. Let's hold it. And then when you have the dog with the BLM fist, it's like Black Power, the dog raised his paws up. That was even better. It was so good. It was like that one was better to find. So we've had circumstances here where people who've worked here have posted LGBTQ people being dragged to death by Islamic extremists. And was it a news story? Was it a news story? No, it was English, and it was like this is what they do to gay people or whatever. Like show the And my only response
Are you fucking hitting the? Are you using the hammer and taking down buildings?
Yes.
Yo, I was like back there. I was thinking if that's what was happening. I was like, dude, what the fuck is doing that? That is actually.
So some of the group chat where they were literally saying things like that was dead serious, no holds barred racism, and attacking employees here or people who then I feel like we need to find out these people, and if this is the way you feel, you shouldn't work here. I don't care if it's racist or if it's if someone in a private message where they disparage
I don't
any
understand
individual
what is
that
making
we respect
me
or work with based on their characteristics
like
or
stop hitting
them
down
personally.
I don't
we've got
fucking
a problem.
understand that.
Like, imagine if like, racism aside, it's a very broad and general thing. What would happen if some messages leaked where someone who worked here was saying, like, just insulting Seamus mercilessly, and it was like unironic, a legit unironic disparagement of Seamus behind the scenes, where they were saying really nasty, awful things about him. I feel like you're allowed to believe whatever you want. You have no obligation to like Seamus, but if you have this kind of problem with him, maybe you should leave.
Just unsend that real quick.
So like, I feel like professionals. Let's put it this way. What should I do? If leaked messages came out from employees at Comcast where they were saying that secretly they're in favor of transient kids and donate to the cause to support abortion and Planned Parenthood and trans and child sex, what should I do?
I would say if they're unironically doing that, listen, I don't know what the law says, what the Civil Rights Act says, or whatever, but I think you should not work with that person. I think it's a bad idea to work with that person.
I agree. My response is, why you shouldn't work here. Clearly, you oppose the mission of the company. You're supporting things that are struggling.
Here's a question about that. Can someone like sue you if you fire them for that legally?
Depending on the state.
Wow.
Yeah. That's why people don't understand that all the HR stuff that they deal with at corporations is because the law requires them to do it. Everybody wants to live in this environment where the boss comes to you and is honest, like it's a movie, and he goes, listen, I'm going to be real with you. You're fat, you stink, and I'm letting you go because you got to lose weight. And they're like, no, they'll never do that because you'll get sued to oblivion. You simply say we no longer require your assistance at this time. And that way, most states, you can fire someone for any reason. And so you literally just say, at this time, we no longer require your work.
That's how I do breakups. We no longer acquire your
Texas. I love. We're going to go to your chats and Rumble rants, so smash the like button, share the show right now with everyone you know. Literally every single person, even a bottled water company. And can we prove them wrong? And a ton of people said, Tim, you don't understand. Cans with plastic are better than plastic water bottles, and glass is too expensive. So we decided to prove them wrong by producing pool water, artesian
Fucking
water.
course, dude.
And we sell it at around 7 cents per ounce, where Liquid Death sells at around 8 cents.
Spawn on the shitty
And
side.
our bottles are glass. And there's going to be
there's
some
no way
plastic,
it's
and I think the
the
cap
side.
is
It
going to
has
have
to
some
be
plastic metal
because
cap,
of
but it's got plastic liner or something like
getting
this.
the beef
You
leg.
can't get away from all of it. The point is, you can do this.
All I know
We are
is
waiting for
if you
production
spawn on that other
confirmation
side, you always
from
get the
the,
helicopter
distribution
stuff.
company, and then pre-orders should be available tomorrow. And we are making almost no money on it.
Or
We're
maybe
at the bottom of
we
Liquid
never
Death.
captured
But we're
the
doing
most.
it.
I feel like it has to.
I am sick and tired of these companies.
Watch, you're gonna see them get a fucking helicopter, dude. Watch, no matter what.
If it depends on the side, you
I think they know full well the average person doesn't know there's plastic in all of their cans. And so when they say yes to plastic consumption of the consumer, is that they're
I think so, yeah. Oh no, I think I'm in a different tank.
unless you do
Yeah.
hot caps, even some of those, most of them have plastic liners. So there are better ways to do it, but we'll talk about that a little bit more later. Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more. Oh, wait, smash the like button. Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more is Tom Renz. Glad to be here. Pull the mic up a little bit.
Man, they just fucking took my kills, man. That's such
Should be fun.
Again, dude.
And on Kick Drum.
My
Emads
God.
World. I love me some Emads. All the Emads. The G-Mads, the Emad Heavyweight. I also am a big fan of the UV for my 20-inch bass drum. It sings like a child.
A disaster transforms your home into a place of chaos. Where everything you create does.
Okay, dude, that was 2 tanks in a row that I had 1 shot, that I put to 1
This
shot,
is the
and I
world
get it
of
fucking
Paul Davis
stolen.
Restoration, where our experts are ready, trained, and equipped to restore your home, to make things right. Paul Davis Property Restoration Experts. When things go wrong, we do what's right.
My name is Seamus Coughlin. I'm the creator of Freedom Tunes. Myself and my team have produced over 600 animated shorts because we believe you can't win the culture war if you're not making culture. We've amassed over 1 million subscribers, over 2.9 billion views, and that's all with $0 spent on marketing. We have a problem in this country. All of our media is produced by people who hate our country, who hate your family, who hate our values. That's why we're stepping into the ring and we're making longer form content. We've just launched our first series, which is full length. We have our final finished. It's 25 minutes long. If you guys want to help us make this a reality, if you guys want to help us compete with Hollywood with good long-form content, with good values in it, that are communicated through story and jokes rather than ham-fisted monologues, go to twistedplots.com. Donate, help us make this show. You'll get access to the pilot and help us build the future of entertainment. I've got the values, I've got the team, I've got the experience, and if you give me your support, I will be unstoppable.
That was a definite improvement. Wow, Seamus.
Didn't want to catch any
It's the opposite.
Tim gave
Wait, where's our helicopter?
I still think you need to add the if you see as I see and you would seek as I seek.
Listen, I'm just being sincere. I think we need to build this. I think we need to compete with Hollywood.
Also, I want to stress YouTube is completely down now. I can't even load the background studio anymore. It's just gone. Phil's hanging out.
Hello, everybody.
It's
My
not
name is
back
Phil
there.
Labonte. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band
Someone
All That
just took
Remains.
it.
I'm an anti-communist and a counter-revolutionary. Let's get into it.
Here's the news from ABC. LA County
I don't see it in
declares
the air.
state of
Where is
emergency
it?
over immigration raids. They say LA County officials
You know,
voted on
I think
Tuesday
it
to
was
declare a
just
state of
available on
emergency
Summer
over
Ticket, I
ongoing
think.
federal immigration
Yeah.
raids. The proclamation gives the county the power to assist residents they say have been impacted financially by immigration and customs enforcement action. The declaration was introduced by county supervisors Lindsay P. Horvath and Janice Hahn by a 4-1 vote. Now, what does this mean? It means they're going to take your money and they're going to give it to illegal immigrants. Well, I'm not kidding. What's happening in our communities is an emergency. LA County is treating it like one. Declaring a local
This guy's such
emergency
a
ensures
joke,
the
man.
full weight of county government is aligned to support our immigrant communities who are being targeted by federal actions. I would just like
Yeah,
to
see, they
stress
have the
to all of you,
helicopter.
please understand in great detail what this means.
Well, like it's in our spawn.
The
Like we can.
government of Los
It seems
Angeles
like we can
County.
spawn into
Okay,
it.
when people refer to LA
Yeah, no,
as a
like I
state,
know, like
they gotta
the
understand
options there, but like I'm telling you, like
the
it's
whole
never
urban
available.
area is referred to as LA County. Their government has just publicly declared you are an enemy. And when your law enforcement goes in to enforce the law enacted by Congress, it is an emergency because it is attacking their people, their community. They are telling you outright, the people you seek to enforce your laws against, they are siding with them. So these liberals, they come out and they say, these are our neighbors, they should be allowed to stay, blah, blah, blah. Let's just step back and approach this mathematically and logically. We decide as a people in the United States, a certain act is crime. If you commit crime, we will arrest you. LA County has publicly declared at the government level, they feel those who have committed the crime are deserving of money and protection. And the fact that you would try to enforce your laws is an attack on them. They are telling you they are the criminals. I don't know where y'all think this goes, but I think you know where I think.
Wait, you stole the guy that was up here?
Yeah, I mean, look, the fact that LA County
No.
is trying to essentially
See, the fucking helicopters fucking doing all this bullshit now, man.
tensions brought down in this country. Plus, every step that the state takes the federal government in favor of illegal immigrants only raises the tension. That's all it can do.
You know, I've been thinking about the show. For the next 30 days, everyone in the country is trying to murder me. It's crazy, right?
People on these games never come back.
This map is unplayable. You want to leave this fucking faggot map? If it's side dependent, first one it's like
It's fucking, it's terrible, dude. You could just stream. Fucking eyes are hurting.
Don't you get it? This game is rigged.
Yeah, let me see how many times I shot that guy.
I'll be back. I'll be back.
I actually hit him 11 times. Wow, literally 10 or 11 times. That's...
All right, go ahead.
No, listen, here's the deal. Federal law is in charge, right? It controls. This is literally a county government aiding and abetting in a crime. This is like a RICO. They're literally making themselves an illegitimate government. This is 100% illegal. What I hope to see from this is I want to see Pam Bondi come in and charge these guys immediately for aiding and abetting, conspiracy. There's a bunch of crimes here. Put them in jail. Put them in jail from top down. And anyone in this county that supports this, throw them in jail too.
I completely agree with you. I think that has to happen, especially if we want this country to have a future. Otherwise, we're setting the precedent that they're allowed to do this. I mentioned this on the show the other day. One thing people will tell you about parenting, for example, is either you're shaping your child or your child is shaping you. Anytime you're in a position of authority over anyone and you allow them to disobey you, what you're telling them is you're actually in charge. And that's not what any of us agree to with respect to the social contract that we're a part of in the United States of America. So they're subverting all of our will. They're subverting the democratic process, which put this administration in place because the American people wanted mass deportations. And you're absolutely right. They need to be put in jail. My question for you is, what do you think the likelihood is that Bondi actually does something about this? Because I'm a little bit jaded about certain members of this administration and their ability to pull through for us.
I'm with you, brother. I mean, I've been very outspoken and very frustrated about this. Really almost nothing. We see a Comey indictment, which unless it's succeeding in this, there was no sedition charge.
Oh shit, let's go,
There's
dude.
so many charges that could have been brought that they kind of ignored on this. To me, I haven't seen anything but impotence out of justice so far. I'm sorry, I think Bondi, to me, we wanted Matt Gaetz, tried to get Matt Gaetz, Congress would want to get Matt
Insta-fucking
Gaetz.
melt.
So we get
Holy
Bondi on there.
fuck!
She's just not getting it done. I don't, you know, I mean, I'm frustrated with this. I'm not really hopeful, but these are more level.
I would say I largely agree with you. We talked about it a bit last night in the uncensored portion of the show. Make sure you guys check that out. Don't forget here, by the way. I'll join our Discord soon. But the point was that there are some things happening, like, you know, Lisa James getting indicted and now they're talking about John Bolton. But what's frustrating me is that we continually have these federal judges exceeding their authority and Trump knows it. And the response we got from Nick Barr was Trump's trying to play I'm like, that's not
yeah.
Because what's
Dude,
happened
how
now
many
is
bullets do these guys fucking have, yo?
Trump can federalize the National Guard to the point.
Holy shit, man.
What reality makes sense that Trump can assume command of the National Guard? He can't actually tell them to walk somewhere. And he's not telling the National Guard to go beat people.
Yeah.
So if Trump is going to say, here's a better example. A judge ruled the barriers had to be removed from outside the ICE facility. We just saw several terror attacks against ICE. They shot at them from while hiding in the woods.
Hostile forces are attacking Charlie.
Dylan knows the importance of training. That's why he trusts Toyota University trained service experts. Because with their commitment to specialized training, he knows his Toyota is always performing at its peak, just like him.
ICE goes, okay.
Well, isn't saying Trump can assemble the National Guard, but he can't mobilize them the perfect epitome of what has been happening since 2016? There's just a refusal to transfer power. It's almost like when Trump is in office, the executive branch becomes like the monarchy is in England. It's totally ceremonial, and they do everything they can to block him from exercising any kind of power.
And he says, okay.
Yep.
And the argument I'm told is he has to play to public opinion, and I'm like, okay, we lost.
Then we lost. We're doomed.
That's what Trump always does.
And I've made
unfortunate.
made that point several times, is that I think a lot of people still want to live in that era where the Republicans try to play the bigger party and they want to look like they're being fair for the sake of being fair, when everybody understands. And look, I get the point of that argument, because the idea is like, well, when when the Democrats come back in power, what we're going to see is them exert their authority over you. Like, they do that anyways.
And they're
going to do that anyways, so it doesn't really matter. I get the point you're making, is that you feel that the decorum in this country is gone, but the decorum in this country, at least as far as politics, has been gone for a very, very long time. And it's now, if you're a Republican, it's in the interest of your family. Literally can't even get a bullet on him somehow, man. Because there's nothing great and there's nothing gracious about allowing yourself to be abused by someone for the sake of being ridiculous.
Republicans that are saying, oh, we have to bring back the decorum, that's like doing that, we have to make our appendix important. It is
They literally raided Melania's underwear, bro. Yeah. I mean, for God's sakes, you want decorum over raiding his underwear? I mean, they look like a weaponized DOJ. The weaponized DOJ is dealing with Biden on levels I can't even tell you. Do you know, so I'll tell you guys, as an attorney, do you know that there are cases that I can't file in jail? Look at the election attorneys that we had from 2021. Whether you like that or not, look what happened to them. Look at the guys who stood up on a number of these real controversial issues. Look at what happened to them. When you get to the point that you can't ask questions and you can't challenge him, cases that are done. We need Trump to lead on this instead of following public opinion. We need him to be the leader that we know because he punches people, because he fights, because he's paid.
Well, that's exactly right, and this is something Augustine said. The man has vices, and I don't think people can disagree that Trump's vice is
fucking
so even if he's
horrifyingly
not bought and paid
terrible,
for
bro.
by these large lobbies, that vice controls him.
Hey, if you don't have B or D, the game is impossible to play.
We all have to pray that he abandons this need for human respect that he has, because if he doesn't, they're going to take over
some
this
fucking
country. He's
maps
not
where you
going to be able
don't
to stop
instantly
them.
die
Troy
just
still
because
gives
of
all
where
the
you are.
interviews to the mainstream press, and he knows that they hate him.
He's always wanted
only
people
places
to
that you
like
can
him.
be
That's
for some
all. That's been
stupid
his biggest Achilles heel. He's always been the guy that wants people to like him. Now, sometimes that's a good thing because it makes him capable of working with people that he's had significant beef with, significant issues with, and when it comes time to work together, he can actually leave those kind of personal things behind and then work on whatever problems that can be a positive. But it also means that people are able to roll in that time, get policy decisions or get him to do things that they want that are actually in conflict with things that not only he's promised, but the immigration issue was, if it wasn't the top issue, it was one of the top issues. Sending illegal immigrants back. That was the first thing that he said in 2015 when he came down that golden escalator. It was like, we've got, they're not sending they're sending terrible people, blah, blah, blah. And the left was up in arms about it. How dare you say these things? But that was what people really started to pay attention to him for. And he was 100% right. We have 20 million or so illegals that came in just during President Biden's administration. These people need to go home. So he needs to focus on the promises that he made, and make sure that he's doing what is necessary to keep those promises.
I think there's an argument to be made that even 20 million is a conservative number. I wish Trump would focus more on demanding the respect of these people rather than focusing on being liked by them.
Meaning the press or like the opposition?
The opposition. They have to know that there's a life. But again, respect is not the same as liking. What respect is saying, like, even if I don't like this person, if I mess with them, it's not going to go well for me. I know he's not, and that's what's unfortunate. Trump, listen, you're a likable enough guy already. You don't have to focus on trying to get these people to like bad people.
We keep hearing this argument, like even Elad made the other day, like, when Democrats come back in power, they'll do bad things to you for the things you did, and it's like, you don't understand, they had a fake criminal charge against Donald Trump. It doesn't get any worse. The next, Charlie Kirk is dead. Same ideology as One of the house
That guy almost just fucking joked. Absolute living faggot fucker.
Aaron Danielson.
Holy shit.
The shooting of Aaron Danielson in Portland. These people of this ideology have already murdered people, and they arrested Trump's lawyers. What more do people expect is going to happen? Now they're declaring it an emergency. When the elected government say, don't enforce the law, they go, it's an emergency now, and we're going to pull from the public policy. If Zoran Mamdani wins, it is going to escalate. And one more point, sorry, but one more point. I made this mistake. 99%. Just let the socialists win. Then they'll learn what happened. Conservative-minded individuals fled these jurisdictions, entrenching the psychotic behavior of these people to the point where LA has declared a state of emergency because we want the law enforced. And the only way I see to actually reconcile this at this point is Reconstruction-style politics.
So
going in and taking over.
Two things to your point. First of all, the United States is the last place to go. So to your point, like when conservatives fled areas, like they fled to places and said, oh, we're going to leave New York, we're going to go, blah, blah, blah. There is no place outside of the United States.
Salvador.
Dude, look how bad my team is. This team is losing 430 to 60.
New ones added daily. Tap into slot.
I don't know about that. I don't know. There's what do you mean? I don't know that going to El Salvador is actually the proper solution. You're surrounded by commies down there, first of all. But second of all, to your point about like what happens after Donald Trump leaves office, there is already people talking about using the I forget what the policy is called, but the way that Donald Trump has paid the military,
your
because he
helicopter
recently
flying?
passed some kind of what's it called?
They pulled funds from somewhere else to pay for something.
That was
dude.
yeah. Technically, that's illegal because of appropriations. So there and the guy, there's a guy named Bobby Kogan who is he's the senior director for federal budget policy at American Progress. Okay, so he's already talking about how they can indict Donald Trump for this. Now, I don't think this is a good idea. Obviously, I don't think the American people are going to like it either because they're literally they would be indicting him on an appropriations violation, and they would be doing it because he paid the troops. So it's terrible optics. The Democrats don't care. They just want to put him in jail. So they will actually use a law that was passed in 1808, and no one has ever gone to jail for this. No one has ever been prosecuted. No one has ever been arrested for this. But they would use this because it has a 5-year statute of limitations. So it's after he gets out of office, and they would try to put him in jail for this. They're already planning how do we put Trump in jail. If you think that they're not going to do this stuff after Donald Trump is out of office, you think they're going to stop? Absolutely not, and they're going to come after.
Bro, with the way these people play this game, they would lose control of their headquarters.
All kinds of people in his cabinet and stuff.
Yeah,
Let's jump to the story from Zero Hedge. All hell broke out in Boston as police cruiser torched in premeditated attack on cops. The president of Boston's Patrolman Association has responded to a violent mob of over 100 people as they unleashed chaos in Boston streets, torching a police cruiser and pelting officers with fireworks, cones, and poles in what witnesses called a riot-like assault on law enforcement. Take a look at this. This story is particularly crazy because this was not politically motivated violence. This was barbarism. Take a look at this video.
The Boston police cruiser repeatedly hit with fireworks and set on fire. Investigators say dozens of people were involved overnight in what they're calling a targeted attack. Good evening, everyone. I'm Ken McLeod. Tonight, 2 people are in custody. And as WBZ's Paul Burton shows us, this wasn't the only incident locally involving a large crowd attacking officers.
Objective Echo has been secured.
Mob of people here, like screaming, getting on the top car.
Chaos erupts. People scatter and swing along.
In the video, as we already pointed out, these women who are witnessing it are laughing about it. They're smiling like, wow, you know, look at this. They really don't understand what this leads to. People don't get it. So my point on this is, it is particularly unnerving. This story is actually from October 5th, but it's only gotten any national attention 10 days later.
When you cook chicken, what do you usually have? Like drumstick, thigh, breast?
DHS agents, I think it was when they pursued the guy who attacked.
You just like pan fry, right?
They got surrounded by a bunch of random people in the neighborhood according to Oxford House. The view that
How long do you go on each side?
on law enforcement is that they may as well be clowns at this point.
Specifically have
Now
time
we're
for
seeing
it, but
I can't even call it a riot.
able to see
People aren't doing anything other than it's funny to them and they laugh about it. I am deeply concerned with the exponential growth curve over the past couple of years. It has been just over a month since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and think about all the degrees of violence that we've already seen. A terror attack on ICE, where federal law enforcement were rammed in their vehicles in Chicago. Now we're seeing this. My fear is, as it was described by Eric, one day everything's normal, the next day you wake up and the internet don't work, the electricity is out. I'm concerned we maybe get to that point where the conversation is had about what kind of precautions you need to take and when you need to actually. Let's. I'll keep the language light here.
Does your
enact
marker
any kind
for
of
the
plan.
map?
Yeah.
That is like.
Yeah, it does that. It's really annoying.
Do they care too much about destruction to where when they have things like that? Just like using the wire all the time?
Feels good, sounds even better. Once you try it together, sound good, open your earbuds.
Yeah.
Check out! Enemy now controls more objectives. Search sound for open ear earbuds now. Okay, we've secured Alpha.
To me, the Evans sound is such a unique durability about them. Part of what I've had so far is the heavyweight. I didn't think it would be in the studio, and man, they just hold up like beyond anything I've ever used before. I know there's drums backwards, inside and out. Nothing's going to change what's embedded in my brain.
Like we pushed so
Evans
far
did.
that they
Just
get
to have
3
the drums that you
other
know,
flags.
the head you can rely on is everything.
Yeah.
Securing your family.
Shit is so dumb.
Yeah, you mentioned something here about the fact that this wasn't politically motivated as far as we know. And that appears to be the case. The one thing it's important to remember is that it's still directly tied to politics. Soft on politics, value and respect police from elected officials who are they're trying to maintain public order against rioters.
Damn.
This kind of rhetoric and this kind of weak law enforcement and value of our elected officials to support law enforcement is why this kind of thing is able to happen.
So, Tim, this goes straight to what we were just talking about, right? This comes down to lack of enforcement of the law. We're letting things go. Nobody's enforcing the law. And it takes you to start from the top down. I just posted right before the show on my Twitter feed. I got this thing sent to me from MoveOn.org. MoveOn.org is out there promoting and asking for money for this no peace protest. I mean, I'm scared to death of this protest. This could be another peaceful protest. Now, MoveOn.org is organizing, raising money for this. Now, if you sit here in your studio, get that, post that, put it out there. Why does the DOJ say, hey, maybe we need to investigate MoveOn.org for are they funding this, are they supporting this? Why can't they go online and find the 50 different groups that support this? And why are the people who are doing this?
We just had a culture war live at the County of DC schedule. Because of the no peace protest, the security requirement for having this event in DC was exorbitant and impossible to permit. So let me put it this way. If we're going to get like me, the liberals would be fine. Emily Sage in America. If we're going to be at this venue and it's publicly known and advertised, and you've got these anti-terrorists, they are absolutely going to make So what would we have to do? We'd have to get
Fuck,
permits to block
dude.
off the street to be able to get us in and out during these specific. So we were like, let's just move the event, and we'll have it.
Do you really want the terrorists to want out? Right? That's true. It's like that's why these kinds of attacks happen, is because they want to make it impossible
Nice.
for you and other people to do events like this.
And even if you're willing to do so, to make it so financially costly to be able to do it.
Yep. There is a reality to how long we can do this
See,
show.
shotgun
with
players have the
exponential
luxury of being able to look at you while they're being
all
shot.
the death threats, etc. So I don't know where that threshold is. The death threats that we've received over the past month or so have resulted in probably the most extreme reaction we've ever had to have. I had to literally, I have been in contact with the FBI with the SWATs. That was child's play compared to what's going on right now. As you saw, Benny Johnson was at a press conference with the DOJ over the threats to his family. Since the killing of Charlie Kirk, and we have seen escalation in threats, and our security team's assessments are that there is a real movement by far-left groups to exacerbate and escalate. And we're witnessing it. We're watching it on the ground in Chicago when the judges rule that federal law enforcement knowledge is coordinated and is getting ready to send another bill. A judge just extended the ruling. Trump cannot deploy National Guard. They are outright telling us those that do not align with us will be barred from protecting themselves.
We are targeting Objective Bravo.
You know, I was doing a lot of work on this. I had a guy follow me from my house, knock on the window of my car, hand me a pack and mix it right? No, I mean, this guy, right? I'm not overly intimidated by people, but here's the California they know all my things. They made that clear. They know where I work out. They made that clear. I mean, this is the kind of thing we should be having here, but we can't negotiate with these people. A lot of people in this country, we need to negotiate. But the problem is not the people that we can talk to. The problem is the people that want to kill us, that want to hurt us, that want to destroy us. We're willing to do whatever is necessary. Those people, you can't negotiate with them. That's what we need. We need to go to the people who are remember when we're going after the guys that are keying What? Oh my god, dude. The guys who are paying for the guys to key the Tesla cars. We gotta go. Did you fucking see that, man?
I think the people keying the Tesla.
It's a goddamn joke. That is a fucking joke.
The issue is, does everybody remember that earlier in this year we had, I think, like 70 some odd terror attacks? A woman driving a Tesla had someone speed in front of her and slam his brakes on and get out of the car and start screaming at her in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
That there were people who went to Tesla dealerships and unloaded rifles into the building and vehicles.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm saying. You're right. Let me rephrase.
This is outright bleeding cancer.
These people weren't being paid to do it, but the people who are funding the messaging, the people who are manipulating these low-level thugs to do stupid things, those are the people that need to be charged. RICO charges. RICO is one of the most powerful laws.
You're talking about war powers. You're talking about wartime actions, because in a contemporary, modern, liberal democracy like the United States, we have free speech. So if someone were to say something like, "I think Tesla is evil and should be destroyed," that's considered free speech and a threat. What we know now is that this is what I call the Tweedledee Tweedledum death threat, where there's two people on the street corner and one guy screams, "Someone needs to murder fascists," which is a generic statement. Then the guy next to him points at Seamus and says, "There's a fascist." That's right. So neither of them can be charged because what they said was individually free speech, but we know that in coordination, they are telling people to go murder. We're at the point now where we don't recognize that, we lose. And on top of what you're saying, what scares me, this may be, I don't know if the Republicans, Trump, and Bannon are taking action as pertains to voting to ensure the legitimate voting process, knocking out ballot harvesting and other illicit voting practices. But if the Republicans do not win, we are cooked. And based on right now, we are seeing prominent middle road individuals who supported Trump now walking back their support and because the left will murder you. That degree of
said, please don't leave me out of this. I don't want to be threatened. I don't want to die. They might kill me. They'll kill me. And the point is, like, the scariest part about all of that, it's kind of a weird thing to think existentially, is like, not only will they kill you, but you're going to die and the media is going to frame you as evil. So you don't even get to die some sort of good death. You'll die in the face of the general public as some type of evil fascist, despite the fact that it doesn't describe them in any way, shape, or form. And I think that might be the scariest part for a lot of us. If you were in a free press with journalists who are willing to report honestly, you could take the idea to the public that this is what I mean, this is what I mean in my heart, and maybe the message gets out there that when something bad happens to you, you're framed the way that it is. So what person wants to go to war for something where they're just, you know, they say the victim.
Of course I don't see him until I start running
away.
Of course.
Some people don't even want to do it anymore because they don't feel have any way of being seen as the decent person that they feel they are.
It's called demoralization.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And the good news is, you can actually cultivate a relationship where it becomes far more difficult to demoralize you. If your audience is God, and you're trying to be in his good graces and friendship, it doesn't matter if people say bad things about you after you're dead. That can't hurt you. The reality is, these people are going to say that any conservative who is legitimately martyred for their cause was a Nazi, was a fascist. They'll say the same thing about the assassination of Donald Trump, and they'll even say the same thing if there's, heaven forbid, a successful assassination attempt on him in the future. That's why it's so important for him to not care about what these people think. And I just want to mention something recently along the lines of what he's saying. He's been making statements like, I don't know if I'm going to get into heaven, and I'm trying to get into heaven, but I don't know. I mean, that's got to be, I'm encouraged to hear that because that's getting to heaven. Not whether these people like him.
I'd rather, when who's on the plane, one, and he was asked by I don't think there's anything I can do.
But I hit him with 2 bullets and then I fucking hit him with a grenade. He doesn't die.
We're getting to a let me pull up the story. Federal judge extends temporary approval of all administration employing national guard the ruling by the Trump-appointed judge blocked federal troops from deploying the border for another 14 days. The order was set to expire this weekend. By extending temporary orders, remember that allows the court of appeals judge's time to open the case. Trump admin remains blocked from deploying federal troops. The case is expected to go to trial October 20th. Now, I want to shill a little bit. I think there's a couple strategies. Trump doesn't want to play the Insurrection Act card unless he absolutely has to. At the same time, riots disappear. I think a lot of people were like, wait till summer, now wait till winter. That's one of the comments we got in the chat. No, hold on. We are getting the arrests. We got Letitia James, we got Comey. They're saying that more people will be arrested. Look at this happening. It has begun to happen now in the fall. However, it has begun to happen. The issue, however, is national law enforcement that's going to federal government assist is being blocked. When it starts getting cold, mid-November, these people will stop showing up because they are fair weather activists. Some may still. I believe that federal law enforcement will go out in their winter gear and they are going to enforce the law. Now, in places like maybe Arizona, Colorado, not but Arizona, you'll see activists. I don't know about Miami, Miami's pretty bad. I think that Trump's strategy may be, let's wait to see what happens in the winter. If these people are all gone, we don't need to send in the troops. We will be able to handle these deportations, and we can reprioritize federal law enforcement towards mass deportation instead of protecting facilities. If that doesn't work,
I really do, because I mean that's some serious challenges to our civil liberties. But I get it, we're there. But there's kind of 2 arguments here. And I'm just curious what everybody thinks on this, because on one side I hear this plan going, and on the other side I see very little movement, but I'm starting to see something, like you said, Tim. The movement we're seeing, though, the question is, was it part of the plan, or is it because we're starting to speak up? The MAGA base is really getting frustrated about the lack of movement. They're speaking up more. So is it false, or is it the neutral part of the fact that's going on here? All I know is that we don't have much time, because if we get impeached, midterms. If the Democrats control the House and the Senate, or the House or the Senate, nothing else is getting done. We're done at that point. So we don't have much time. And at this point, we've seen Republicans aren't doing anything in Congress. The only room we've got, the only space that we have to really get a checkmate on this is the DOJ putting big shots in jail. And it's just so slow. And Kelly is an attorney, and you can say, okay, Renz, you're not as good of an attorney as Bonnie. Fine. Maybe I'm not. But you don't have to be that good of an attorney to be able to see, hey, 10 months of resources for DOJ, they can put how many J6ers in jail? They can't do a real investigation into George Soros or Arabella. They can't do a real investigation into whether, Nancy Pelosi.
Why aren't they arresting Schumer? He said he will forcefully rise up against Trump. That's an exciting spike.
Why is it a super lawyer doing any of this?
I'm fucking head!
This is my type of school fit. And the TD Student Banking Package is my type of financial fit. It's designed with their student needs in mind.
Just the game's like, hey, the one time I'm gonna allow you to get a fucking 10 kill on 10, you're not gonna get a kill on first. Why the fuck would I allow you to do that?
Whoa, why?
I think it's because she's too busy doing makeup. I don't know. I mean, women spend a lot of time doing their makeup. Maybe it's like she only got so many hours in a day.
But it's
Why you got so much hate in your
I
heart?
think to use a term Bill used earlier, she has to do something. We need to see more indictments.
Does it count as locker room talk that he made fun of women for putting on makeup and taking so long to do so?
I think it's right on the line of locker room talk.
Christy Nome right outside of the locker room.
Yeah, exactly.
Christy Nome joins us just before she does one of her press conferences.
Christy Nome is hilarious.
But the other problem with that is public perception also matters, and one of the things is when they arrest Donald Trump, when they arrest Republicans, when they arrest J6ers, they're seen, at least in the eyes of the mainstream media, which is then projected out to half the country, that they're doing the Lord's work. They are enacting the law.
I feel like
making sure
now,
that they keep us
during
safe.
the beta,
But
in the first couple days of the
anybody
game,
in a Republican government
the
actually
close
goes
quarters
after
maps
people that are committing crimes,
played
it's
very
seen as
wide
locking up their
scale.
political opponents, and that's just framed in a way that gives it gives
the
them
middle
a
of
lot
the map,
harder
but it was like
time
a
getting
big
through to
circle around the
people who
middle.
might not actually
But now
be
it's
on
just
the
small
side of the
patches, and
Yeah,
and it changes
this podcast
all the
gets better
time.
ratings than
So there's no like
So like
consistent
there's a
battles
counterpoint
or
now.
anything.
Thank God.
Weird.
I mean, thank God for what's occurring with that, and thank God that the censorship is getting less.
Like
but
you have a
there
fight
is
at sea and then
counterpoint
it
now. We've
pushes
got a
to
new media that's
to,
actually far better than anything.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, my response to what you were saying, Brett, is similar to what you said. Thank goodness the legacy media is gone. They don't have as much power to shape these schools anymore.
Look, this is all true, but it's also part of why the United States is becoming more and more bifurcated in the people in their own bubble. People don't see other information or information from opposing views, and that's actually part of the problem.
And it's why during the time when Jimmy Kimmel gets his 2-day suspension and Jane Fonda relaunches the Committee on the First Amendment, we have people talking about free speech and the death of free speech. At the same time, people in new media are talking about Google and in the Biden administration putting through orders to YouTube. It's like you are living in a completely different world than your neighbor. And I don't know if there's a way back for something like that. Not with as bad as it's gotten.
I don't think it's shared narratives. No, I'm opposed to work for censorship during COVID. I mean, literally, we broke in COVID. We couldn't get it out anywhere. But despite that, I couldn't be more. I don't want my points to be drowning out other people. I want everybody to be able to speak. One of the problems that we're seeing though now is with the new media, and I love what Musk is doing. But let's look at the algorithm, right? When I log on to X, I see me. I see 5 million people who agree with me. I don't get to see, and the Krasenstein brothers don't see what I post. I don't see what they post, right? It's really kind of become an echo chamber. Because when we talk, right? There's certain things.
Dude, it's not even on my screen, man. My fucking phone just already just goes kills me.
I agree with you on that, but the difference between and retardation. So I mean the people who are literally, and I don't mean this derisively, people who are genuinely cognitively impaired, who think men can get pregnant, versus the liberals like the Krasnostins, despite the fact, if you go on any
These people can just run freely and do whatever the fuck they want,
in
man.
an unprecedented
Whoa.
first time in
He's
US
still
history
alive.
fashion, prosecutors charge someone with felonies.
See what happens when these retards fucking push everything?
It's never happened before that someone has been convicted of a felony without proving the crime behind that felony. Never happened. And I don't care if you like Trump or don't like
Teammates want
Trump.
to be retards.
So I get into this space because I was a fairly liberal guy, and the media lied. That's not true. Trump never said
Frag grenade down!
And to this day, there are still people who don't know that Trump is president. So now you have a felony case where you get people with crash states who will go on X and they'll say Trump's done. You know. They know. There's no way you can beat these guys on 24/7 and believe they did not about what is unprecedented. Even if they disagree with the outcome, they know it is in contention. And it's in
I
appeal.
think if I didn't drop shot that medic trying to
Take a
zap me,
look
I
at the
probably
shutdown.
would've died.
Democrats going on CNN and saying immigrants because they just changed their definition of illegal immigrant.
That's right. Yeah.
That was the very first article we read. We talked about the immigrants, our neighbors, but that's not who they're going after. They're going after illegal immigrants, which is why we made the point. I don't remember if it was IRL last week. That is a abusive language that's been going on for decades. Illegal alien, undocumented immigrant, which means just immigrant, and it's been the same thing the entire time. It's somebody that is not who has
Holy absolute
the point is
fuck.
the language has been used, first of all, to abuse the people who don't pay close enough attention to these things to understand the difference, but for the people who are actually evil, it's done as a way to further their agenda without seeming to do so.
I gotta be honest. During Occupy Wall Street, I had a conversation with a bunch of these activists, and they were like, "We're gonna go march down the street. It's gonna change the game, right?" And I said, and then I said, "Here's an analogy I'd like to use. There are warring feudal tribes of Japan, and one group sends their samurai to the gates of the other feudal lord, and they're banging on the gate, being like, 'Let us in because we want words.' And it's fortified, and their fortress going like, Meanwhile, the other side sends ninja dressed like maidens, carrying food and water. They open the gate and say, 'Come on in.' The maidens walk up to the king, knife him, jump out the window. I said, if you keep trying to face these guys, knocking on the door and saying, while they're sending in spies for sabotage and subterfuge, the point I'm making now is, Republicans keep saying, we need to, oh no, a judge said Trump can't control the military, despite the fact that he literally can. And Trump is going, rats. I'm sitting here being like, this is
That just runs into fire.
a judge has no authority to tell Trump he can't. So why should Trump have to abide by an unconstitutional ruling? Well, let's flip it. Why is it that Trump will not take the same or commensurate unconstitutional actions these judges will? Why is it that every time a judge does something unconstitutional, Trump goes, rats? What if it was flipped? It was. During the Biden administration, they arrested Trump's lawyers, unconstitutional. And Trump and everybody went along with it. You know what I said? I said when they first indicted Trump, he should have flown to Mar-a-Lago, and he should have said, come down here, and then I want Ron DeSantis to tell his state troopers to assist the feds who are going to arrest him and take me from my home. He should have said, I will not go to New York to answer this indictment. New York will send troops here. And if they come to my door, show me the indictment, I will gladly go back to New York to answer for this. And DeSantis will then have to do a lot of damage. Instead, Trump said,
my teammate was in front of me.
Okay, I'm
How
going
does
to
that
go fly
make
to
any
New
sense?
York, knowing full well it was wrong. Same thing with in Georgia, and they arrested Jen Ellis. He's going to be a coward. But this is what we are dealing with right now. If Trump simply said, the judge's ruling is purely unconstitutional, and I will not abide by the judiciary acting outside of the Constitution. The president has final authority over the National Guard. They have agreed I can federalize, thus I have command. I will deploy them to go protect the federal building. This is not in violation of Posse Comitatus. Trump won't do it. He's just saying, okay.
Oh my god, 930. Absolutely. Dude, where are my bullets going?
Well, he probably has to, but here's the thing. It's historical precedent.
Doesn't even see it's such horseshit. It doesn't even tell me what gun he was using.
Separation of power, some of the immunity, some of the things that the powers that the president they enjoy now, because there were a couple times in the past where the president told the judicial branch to pound sand.
What a fucking
At the end of the day, the president is the
It's good that you
commander in
died.
chief of
Fucking
the
retard.
period. The
Can
judicial
someone
branch
revive?
is
Look at
not.
this
You
faggot.
can
Fuck.
read it
Oh my
in
god, he's
plain
literally
language
flying
of the
around. And he
Constitution.
doesn't revive me.
You know, but we've got to ask
Oh
ourselves,
my
who keeps
God.
telling Trump to stand down? I mean, Trump, if we look at Trump historically, the thing we loved about him most is he's a fighter. Why is he walking around with his hands straight?
Well, the argument may be that he wants to put more of the PR on the Supreme Court. With these actions, he can say, look, we have all these judges. The problem is the corporate press, no matter what lies anyway. But here's the point. ABC said in Chicago, outright said Trump is defying court orders because the feds are, because they're using tear gas. It doesn't matter what Trump does. It's wrong. Even if Trump literally says, I love the left and trans kids, and we're going to tax the race, alter his statements out of context, and then accuse him of trying to murder people.
So quit bothering. Why try? Quit trying. Just win. We elected you to win. That's what we want. I don't want Pam Bondi to tell me why she hasn't filed a case.
Dude, why is he using a pistol across the map?
Borla and Bill Gates. I don't want Mark Zuckerberg in the White House. I want you to win. I want to see people in jail. I want you to be the leader you are. That's what I want. That's what we voted for.
Let's jump. You want to make one more
I just don't think that that's Trump. As much as there are people that are like, oh, I love Trump and he's the guy and blah blah blah. I don't think that's Trump. He just we've seen this. You know, we saw this in his first administration, and we're seeing it now. I don't think that he has the intestinal fortitude to actually do the things that we're talking about.
Let's jump to this next story from NBC. Analyzing Dominion voting system sales run by ex-Republican election officials. We had talked about this a little bit. We didn't get into it when the news broke because I don't know each other. But polls are running as though Republicans are so they can rig the elections in 2026 and 28.
But that's impossible.
It is. It's not possible. Dominion couldn't possibly rig the elections, right?
Hit someone 5 or 6 times in the chest and maybe once in the head, and he just walks it off.
believe
Because of course he
has the
does.
capability to rig an election?
I know for a fact that they can't because I was repeatedly told that they can't by legacy media.
Is it a real question now? We're ask the judge.
I think I'm being sincere. I trust the mainstream. I don't know why you would assume that I was being cheeky. No, I actually do think it's telling them someone who says they trust legacy media. It's like, okay, be serious. I don't know if you could possibly make the argument that if you have an entire infrastructure set up for allowing people to vote digitally, and people in Minnesota that are capable of ballots, maybe I don't know about the technology. It seems like
Okay, dude, fuck that, man.
If you believe
Holy
Dominion
fuck.
can manipulate elections, super chat us $10.
What a fucking joke, dude.
I believe that Dominion voting systems through
Fucking hit
their
him
voting
4 or 5
systems,
times and he
one
just
could rig an
turns
election.
it
I'm not saying
while
that
I'm
Dominion
laying
as a
down and
company
hits me once and
has
I'm
done
dead.
or would do it, but clearly with such
God, they don't know how to make a fucking game that works.
No.
My teammates can't even push the one flag that we have. Oh my god.
Damn.
It's unbelievable, man. Literally the most brain dead player base I've ever come across.
Totally arbitrary.
The worst of any game is still better than that.
And that's what will be exposed here today in this debate.
Thank you, Andrew and John. To you, please.
Thank you so much.
So
well,
you're
thanks
gonna
for having
get
me.
Black
Hello,
Ops 7
everyone.
or
Thanks
whatever?
for all your lovely comments.
Well,
So I was in.
funny enough, after I told you that it's garbage, I gave it one more chance, and I actually didn't hate it.
Nice.
But it still feels horrible. Like it feels really bad. Like even like turning your character feels horrible.
Invited you to talk about Christian nationalism. I hope it's okay that I didn't prepare any insults or slights or taunts at Andrew. I wish Andrew nothing but love and good health and a wonderful life and joy. And so I hope it's okay that I didn't prepare any middle fingers for you. Thanks for having me. I just go by the Bible and the words we have. That's the Bible we have, and so I base what we have based on what we have there. Homophobia is the opposite. To follow the teachings and the Beatitudes and the sermon and think you're better than gay people. Now, Christian nationalism doesn't work. It could work as a society. I'm not going to say it doesn't. I just say it doesn't work with our Constitution or the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It's not compatible. You can't do it. The movement is about power. And across history, we've seen every time Christianity tries to fuse itself with nationalism, it always betrays Christ. It always self-destructs. It's always about one group of people who think God likes them better and they are elevated above everyone else. So I go by Jesus, who fulfilled the old covenant and brought the new one, right? His message is love, not fear.
From the other day that I wanted to show you of not just how bad the hit detection is, but just how bullshit the game is. Cause what was it? This one. So you know how when you shoot people, it tells you, it shows you the damage sometimes at least.
Okay.
So I believe it says 96 or 97, and then I pop up again. Like I guess I think I go crouch or go prone behind something. And I hit him for like I think 60. Like literally seconds after.
Yeah.
So I just want you to see this. So it's this one. So right there. Hold on. Yes. So 95. 95. Alright? You're supposed to have 100 health. 95. Right?
So that's what those little numbers show?
Yeah. So like, when you see like red 100, that's because you did 100 damage and you killed him.
Oh. That's not the points you get?
Well, in Battlefield, sometimes the points, like you get the same amount of points as as the damage you did. But, I believe, no, I think the difference between white and red is, the damage, I'm pretty sure. But either way, whether it is the points or the damage, the points you get is it complete relation to your damage. So I did 95 right there. I did 95. I didn't do 100 full because I shot him through the pole once or twice. So I didn't do full damage. But then I get right back on him and hit him 3 more times. And I actually headshot him. Yeah, you see the double crosshair is when you get a headshot, and you can see the double crosshair. And right there is 67. He did not have even close to enough time to regen health. And I was baffled at this. I think I just got off. Yeah, I just got off the gate because that was the crazy one. That was probably the worst thing I've ever seen. That was over 150 damage to one person, and he didn't die.
Jesus brings a new covenant.
The worst thing you've ever seen.
Why Gentiles get to have bacon. That is why you don't have to keep kosher. That is why you can drop the homophobia, and it's why nobody actually follows the book of Leviticus unless they're trying to weaponize a Bible chapter they themselves don't believe it is followed. The Lord that's right, commands us to love. Jesus was a peaceful, radical, non-violent revolutionary. He spent his time in the poor communities around lepers, hookers, and crooks.
A car wouldn't actually go that.
He never spoke American. He never spoke. I'm sorry. He wasn't American and never spoke English. He
A car wouldn't actually go
anti-will
that far.
quite thoroughly. Anti-public prayer, Matthew 6:5. Very anti-prayer. Told us not to trust the folks who pray in public to be seen. Never anti.
So I know it's not to be like a simulator, but
which is never specifically prohibited anywhere. In fact, the Bible never at any point says to punish poor women with greater poverty. Never says men can force women to be pregnant against their will, that governments of men have the right to force teenage girls to be pregnant by a rapist against her will. Quite the opposite. The Bible does not have any prohibitions for terminating a pregnancy. That is
those trucks that are like 8,000 pounds that do jumps. And wait, a perfect example is a monster truck.
Yeah.
It's like a few few tons, and it has a lot of drag, and those fucking go insanely far. Those can go really far, and they're going way slow. 270 mile. We've never seen what happens to something like a car that's going 200 miles an hour off of a.
They should do that.
because the religion of Judaism does not ban
so I can get one of those
abortions are legal and free
androids
in
in there.
Israel right now. Jesus was against the death penalty, never mentioned abortion, just like God and Moses and Paul and all the prophets. Judaism doesn't ban it. So he was never anti-gay, never anti-abortion, and he never said torture's okay sometimes. He never said you're better than anybody else because you believe in me. He never fought for tax cuts for the wealthiest Nazarenes. He never asked a leper for a copay, and he was a long-haired, brown-skinned, that's in Revelation, homeless, open borders, Middle Eastern, Palestinian, unarmed, anti-slut-shaming Jew. But that's only if you believe what is actually in the Bible. And again, he fulfilled the Old Covenant. So Jesus brings a new covenant. He reduces the Ten Commandments to 2. He challenged or overturned many Old Testament rules, including the death penalty, which Jesus overturns in Sermon on the Mount with Turn the Other Cheek, and ends the concept of retributive justice and says now the focus is on love, because Christ is about transformation, not domination, going beyond what your religion teaches to a deeper kind of love, not some passive, permissive state of mere affection, a real action verb love, with all of the discipline and challenges and healing that can come with that. And again, every time Christianity fuses itself with empire, it leads to the opposite of Christ's commandments. Because Christian nationalism is not a form of Christianity, it's a political ideology that uses Christian language to sanctify power, and it generally contradicts Jesus' teachings at every major point. Jesus lifted the lowly and prioritized the least of us. Matthew 6:5, my friends. Matthew 6:5, he gives his marching orders for individuals and neighbors.
My name is John Morgan. I'm your advocate, your neighbor, your community champion. And I'm running to be your city councilor in your iffy Kokanee community. On October 20th, vote Morgan for Edmonton City Council.
Judgment of nations. Are we okay on time?
No, I just wanted, you were cutting out for a second.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. So that's where Jesus says he will, at the end of time, judge individuals and nations, gather them all, and judge them on certain criteria. You all know his criteria. It's Jesus' most famous speech. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was naked and you clothed me. Jesus' 4 criteria for what will get individuals or nations into heaven or hell are: you care for the poor, you care for the sick, you welcome the stranger, you're kind to people in prison. Nothing about how much you hate gay people, how cruel you are to trans people, how much you persecute the Christian refugees at our border that we've been brainwashed to call illegals. We need to have a dehumanizing slur, because if we see them as human and our fellow Christians, these inhumane policies will trouble our consciences. So, again, Christian nationalism protects the power. It's about control. And Jesus was all about humility, modeling servant leadership. The last shall be first. Satan offers Jesus all that he can see, offers him all the world, all the power. Jesus, time and again, refuses the power. That's not his movement. It's about love and service. And again, Jesus is offered. He's offered multiple times to be a king, and he withdraws into the wilderness. He's not to welcome the stranger. God, in the Old Testament, commanded the Israelites to welcome the stranger and treat the alien as one of our own. Jesus says individuals and nations will be judged by how we welcome the stranger, like his instructions of the Heritage Foundation. And Jesus says the ones that are going to hell are the individuals and nations who talk a good game about following him, but don't care for the poor, don't care for the sick, don't welcome the stranger, don't care for those in prison. So, he preached love. He opposed domination. Christian nationalism excludes outsiders. It preaches fear. And I also don't accept that the current status quo is liberal. Republicans control all branches of government. Labor unions, once the backbone of liberal democracy, which built the middle class, are broken. Our healthcare system is abominable. It's an insult to Christ. Americans deserve the same access to healthcare as all of our capitalist allies overseas, but our healthcare system is a death sentence for poor people. Civil liberties that are being curtailed in the name of freedom. I mean, there's a myth of a liberal establishment because it serves power, and I get that. Try to find someone who's anti-death penalty who will be elected president. Again, Christ establishment because it serves power, and I get that. Try to find someone who's anti-death penalty who will be elected president. Again, Christ was everything that is derided, and he commands us to pick up a cross and follow him. It's not about being on top, and it's not about you winning all the time. Jesus' ministry is not about what you get, it's about what you do and what you give and how much deeper you love than you thought you loved before. Faith in Christ has nothing to do with being nice to trans people, supporting gender. I don't care. It's got nothing against it, nothing in violation of the teachings of Christ. He's very specific on how we should treat the least of us. Cruelty is not a Christian value. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John. And a reminder to the audience, we will get to our debate, and we will do closing statements, read and respond to your kind super chats. And unfortunately, we will not be doing an open panel this afternoon, so we will shut down after that. Gentlemen, I leave the floor open to you.
Yeah, John, let's talk a little bit about Paul, if you don't mind, and the logical epistemic tensor here. Are you saying that Paul was wrong, and that the apostles were mistaken?
Wrong about what?
With Paul, they're wrong about the teachings of Jesus Christ.
In what way?
When he was laying them down as the foundation for the church in Acts.
I think in some areas he wasn't Christ-like. Christ treated women as equals. He's the greatest feminist in the Bible. Christ broke the laws.
Paul can't be trusted.
Christ broke the laws of his own faith to teach women and allow them to touch him. Paul's misogyny is at odds with Jesus' equality.
So
but I'll
can
also
Paul
point
be
out,
trusted?
Well, we don't know because in many cases...
We don't know.
Look, you see that Paul says that women must be in submission and must not speak in church, but a few chapters later he talks about Phoebe, who's ordained as a deacon. So which one is it? Was Paul writing different ideologies to different church communities?
Well, what I'm trying
or
to
have
do,
many people rewritten his letters over
What I want to do here is just establish if your epistemology is sound.
Okay,
if it's the
I'm
case
saying that
we
Paul
have,
is not
if it's the case, yeah, if it's the case that we have apostles who are working with Paul, which they are, okay, you do agree that at least they had contact with Jesus, right?
I'm saying Paul doesn't supersede Jesus, my friend.
I'm not saying you did. I'm just asking you the basic epistemology here. If these guys were wrong about their teaching, hang on, let me ask the question. If these guys were wrong about their teachings about Jesus Christ and laying down the foundation for his church, they got him wrong. Why should we trust their words about Christ at all? Why should we trust anybody's words about Christ at all? Why?
It's got to sound good. It's got to stay in tune. It's got to last. Great sound. Tunes up, holds tunes, lasts a long time, and then that unique, mysterious string tension.
A disaster transforms your home into a place of chaos.
Well, we're just going by the book we've got, okay? Now, Paul, again, in some letters, he's saying that women must be submissive, never have authority over a man, must be silent in church, and then he's ordaining women as deacons. So which one is it? There are inconsistencies within Paul as well. But the thing is, Paul's movement caught on because the actual apostles were all being murdered by Paul's old buddies back home. So that's one of the main reasons. The other reason is Paul's movement caught on because Paul, unlike the apostles, was a Roman citizen and a Pharisee, so he could travel through the empire and preach his gospel. And once Paul was converted, his experience was, look, it's like Judaism, but no circumcision and have all the bacon you want. And he led to the church having this incredible rate of conversion.
Sure, I'm not even disputing.
The apostles were all murdered.
But I feel like you're not really answering my question. Peter and James worked with Paul. Do you agree that that's true?
Yes, that's
okay. Were Peter and James mistaken about the teachings of Jesus Christ when they were working with Paul, or wouldn't they have corrected Paul?
James is the brother of Christ. What have I said that you specifically dispute?
So then the question here is, if James and Peter are both confirming what Paul's laying down in Acts, why shouldn't we trust what Paul's laying down? Why?
Because Paul's a man and he's not Jesus or God. What have I said that you specifically dispute?
Why wouldn't his apostles correct him?
About what? What are you
about for instance, telling women to be silent in church, like you see in Timothy. That was an example that you gave. Why didn't they correct him when it came to laying down in Acts that about homosexuality and his marriage clauses, for instance? Why didn't they correct any of that?
Because they were dead, my friend. They got stoned and martyred, and Paul went on to set up a church.
Help me out here.
Stuck. Paul's version stuck.
Help me out here. Should we trust that Peter and James, who worked with Paul, right, that they would have corrected Paul, that Paul would have corrected.
You haven't told me what I've said that you specifically dispute.
Whatever you think, you say that Paul corrupted, in your book, Paul corrupted the Bible, right?
I think that's a word you chose, but I will say that Paul had a lot of hang-ups that Jesus didn't have.
Shall we use your words?
The homophobia is antithetical to Jesus' message, and Paul's misogyny is the opposite of Jesus. I think Paul's great. There's a lot we can learn from him, but the whole point of my book is Paul is not Jesus and he's not God. And 300 years after he died, the Council of Nicaea decided his letters about Scripture are now Scripture, and that's led to 2,000 years of people using Paul talking about God to say that Paul is speaking for
Paul. So Paul, hang on. Quote, Paul is Jesus' conservative PR guy. Paul is, quote, his PR guy who corrupted the Bible, quote. You, sir, you said he corrupted it. What do you mean, who said that? What are you talking about? Then why'd you just say you didn't say that?
I asked you if I used the word corrupted. If I did,
yes, you used it. Page 51. Page 51. Separation of church and state.
The misogyny is anti-Jesus. The homophobia is anti-Jesus.
Gotcha. So Paul was incorrect. He corrupted the Bible. So the version of the Bible that we should be reading, we should leave. So why shouldn't Christians leave Paul out of the Bible then? Why?
Because we also have to give Paul a break.
Damn dog, they're dead.
Paul had no idea when he was writing these letters to the early church to how to set their hierarchy and who's going to do what, how we're going to build a Christian community of people who love each other, because that's what the religion's about, my friend. Am I right? Paul had no idea.
Yes, I agree that Christianity's foundation is
He had no idea when he was writing these letters that one day his letters would be used by bigots to justify being mean to trans
Well,
kids,
don't you
or
think that that was in the
justify being
well,
cruel to women?
wasn't that within the providence of the Holy Spirit? Isn't that how the Bible came together? If you believe in the Bible, don't you have to believe in the providence of the Holy? Hang on, stop. Let me ask the question. Let me ask the question, John. If it's the case that we can't rely on the fact that it's divine providence and the Holy Spirit, which allowed for the Bible to get put together in the first place, why should you trust any of it? Why?
I don't even understand that question, man. I mean,
do you believe the Bible's true or not, John?
I believe the Bible has a lot of truth, not necessarily a lot of facts. And being a Christian, I follow Christ. I'm not a Paulist.
Yeah, but how do you know what Christ is saying was correct if you can't trust the sources?
I'm going by the book we're all using. And I go by the teachings.
But you're also disputing the sources of those. You're also disputing the sources of those books
What
and
am
saying
I
that they're
saying? I'm saying that
unreliable.
Paul isn't Jesus. He's not as good a man as
Paul
Jesus.
corrupted the Bible. Is the Bible corrupted or not?
I think Paul putting his homophobia and misogyny into the movement is the opposite of Christ, and that's
So
an
the
example
Bible
of it,
is
yes.
corrupted, yes?
No, I think Jesus' fan club was corrupted. What are you talking about? The Bible is a collection of books by a lot of different
Your
guys.
epistemology here is wackadoo. So the Bible
Hold on a
gets
second.
when the Bible gets put together. Yeah, help me out here. And when the Bible gets put together,
Your
the Holy
whole thing is
go ahead.
hating me, bro. Your whole thing is hating me. Your whole thing is trying to make
I haven't
me
said
look
anything
bad.
hateful to you at all.
Your whole thing is trying to make me look bad.
I'm not interested in the meta debate. I'm interested in the debate.
Andrew, Genesis chapter 1.
She left some requests for the wake.
Wow, that's a lot of deviled eggs.
Anything else?
There's a whole essay on deli meats.
God creates man and woman in his image side by side at the same time. Genesis chapter 2, God creates man first, can't find a suitable mate, later goes on to take his rib and make Eve. You can't believe
You mean not Adam and Steve? It wasn't. Why wasn't it Adam and Steve?
You're making it a gay thing, and it's not a gay thing. There's
I know it's not a gay thing.
So which one is it? I don't really care because I follow the teachings of Jesus, and literal belief in one Genesis chapter or another has no bearing on Christ's directions on how we're supposed to treat each other.
So
and
to
I
get this,
don't follow Paul's homophobia. I follow Christ's love.
because it was corrupt. Because he corrupted the. Because he corrupted the Bible, right?
Paul made women deacons, and he had hang-ups.
So he corrupted the Bible.
There was no such thing as a Bible when Paul wrote his letters, dude. Paul wrote
Quote.
his letters. Paul wrote his letters.
Okay, one more time. Quote from you, John.
As did Rome. Rome did much worse. Listen, I give Paul a lot of credit. Paul did a lot of great
Paul is Jesus' conservative PR guy who corrupted the Bible. Quote. End quote by you, page 51 of Separation of Church and Hate.
Yeah, well,
So did he corrupt the Bible or did he not corrupt the Bible, John?
Christianity. How's that?
Okay, good. So
Because
if he corrupted
misogyny-
Christianity, why should we listen to anything he has to say?
Paul, you're trying to hate, bro. Paul's misogyny is the opposite of Christ's love. Christ elevated women, taught women, which was illegal. He allowed women to touch him, which was illegal. The longest private conversation he has with anyone was with a Samaritan woman at the well he wasn't legally allowed to talk to. There were 3 women that went everywhere with the apostles, but the men who wrote it said, oh, it was 12 apostles, 3 groupies. The women are the first ones Jesus appears to.
So they all got that wrong too.
The women are the only
no,
ones.
hang on, they were all. So they were
You can't let me
misogynists
finish,
too.
bro. You just can't let me finish. Are you?
We're
Women are the only. The women are the only. The whole culture was misogynist, and Jesus is the.
Why are we
reformer.
taking the word of a bunch of misogynists then?
I follow Jesus. He was the reformer.
But the people who were
created
telling you
good
what
and
Jesus
evil.
said were misogynists, John.
Is your point that Paul should carry as much weight as Jesus?
No, my point is that you're making the claim right now that
I don't follow
women
Paul, bro.
that
I
women
follow Christ.
Okay, yeah. So let me ask the question. The apostles, the initial apostles who were with Jesus Christ, you say the reason that the women weren't counted as apostles is because of the sexism of the people who went ahead and wrote the books. Yeah. So I just want to make sure. So I want to make sure that we're supposed to take the words of Jesus Christ from you, from the corrupted source of a bunch of misogyny. Is that right?
And Mary Magdalene was never a prostitute either. That was Pope Gregory who made that up. Yes.
I totally agree with you that she wasn't a
corrupted.
prostitute.
Men have corrupted Christ's ministry for 2,000
The very apostles who were writing about it.
So if I could just
Paul's misogyny does not jive
Not just
with
Paul. We're talking about Matthew, Mark, and Luke. They didn't count anybody, any women as being apostles. Only John counts them as being apostles.
That's why Jesus was such a radical revolutionary reformer, because he treated women as equals, and he talked to the people he wasn't allowed to talk to.
Why didn't he make any of them apostles then, John?
Whoever the culture told him he was allowed to despise is who he reached out to.
So why weren't any of them apostles, John?
I believe they were apostles, and I think
Right.
the book decided
Right.
they were.
So they're corrupt too. They were corrupt misogynists who can't be trusted, John.
Dude, what's your hang-up? Jesus
Why-
treated women as equals. Paul did.
They're corrupt misogynists who can't be.
Okay,
Their
so,
words can't be
Andrew,
trusted.
With
If I
respect,
could-
Andrew, with respect,
If I
who's
could
right?
try to offer a translation error, just to ensure we're on the same page. I believe what Andrew's saying, correct me if I'm wrong, is you follow, John, you follow Jesus Christ, but the authors of what Jesus Christ is teaching are the people that you're saying corrupted or did all of these, or said all of these.
Yeah, John. Here's the contradiction. I'll put it simply. Here's the contradiction.
It's all about you attacking me. This is your.
I'm not attacking. I'm not attacking you at all.
Your guys ganging up
I
on
haven't
someone having a fight.
attacked you at all. I haven't attacked you once.
Go ahead,
I've
please,
not
go ahead.
attacked you a single time.
Let's get back to the
What
point.
are you talking about?
Wait for the highlight reel.